Oh, Lord. Can you hear me?
I can hear one of you. I actually hear me. I can hear both of you. Can you hear Moy?
I can hear Yoy.
Good, because I'm going to smoke some Yoy before we start.
You would. You would, fucker.
Yeah, I would. I'm still trying to figure out who had the worst promo this year. I've got everything else down.
Honestly, a lot of these categories have been kind of mid this year. So it's like choosing like the most mid.
Yeah, and I've got some.
The thing is, the worst is going to be all AEW.
Well, see, the difficult thing is the worst probably is all AEW, but I've seen so little of it this year.
Yeah, that is a problem as well.
I don't even know how to separate the bad from the really bad. So
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
I know, yeah.
Skyler will come down from on high with his empirical wisdom.
That's right. Oh, and
besides, promos never about individual promos, just about people who talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who talk, I'm already recording. Welcome to the 96th episode of the TAP. It's the 2023 Grapplys.
Well, it is not. It is. We haven't started the live stream part of this yet.
But the pre-recorded part that'll go up tomorrow, which is today.
Yes. Welcome to the pre-record of the recording that actually post-records your recording that you pre-did.
Does that mean that you got me on a pre-show? God damn it.
Yes. Also known as a buy-in.
That's right. Well, while you two exchange some currency of current events on this wonderful holiday after holiday,
Merry Christmas.
Whoever's doing their day, I'm going to go ahead and celebrate some green with some red, if you know what I mean. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Lick of my, stroke of my, suck of my cock. All right, your turn, Skyler.
Penis. Cock.
That was beautiful.
You're welcome.
I assume that's straight out of the Torah.
There was nothing straight about that.
No, it was all gay.
It was as gay it can be.
No, it was all gay. That's the way I wanted it.
Oh, it's all falling apart.
Or falling together if you think about it.
Yeah.
I'll turn my life into pieces.
This is my last resort. And this fucking microphone flopping everywhere. This is a disaster already.
Not the only thing that's flopping everywhere.
Let me tell you what.
Yuck. All right.
Jesus.
Well, I'm going to keep this out of frame so nobody sees it, but I'm going to make it travel over to the elves probably pretty quickly in the show.
Don't you get those goddamn elves. To keep those fuckers away from me.
Won't be difficult, I don't think.
There we go. All right.
That's in the frame.
Also,
okay, that's relatively respectable.
Also, I'm filming me and have a nice little layout, and there's a JPEG of the Court Martial podcast on the other side of the screen.
Great.
Because I love you guys.
Here we go. Oh, I don't even have my gimmick on. What am I doing?
What is your gimmick? Oh, I need my gimmick as well. I have 2 toy belts. One's the world title belt, the one that's not Seth Rollins, and the NXT belt, the non-rainbow NXT belt. You know, back when it was good.
I will encourage you to check up on the channel's live stream when you get this. Just to be completely meta, watch the actual podcast and the live stream version of this simultaneously. It's really going to be valuable, folks.
I'm already on it. And my first message is, where you at?
I'm coming, is what I'm saying. Because I'm going to show you the updated Grapplys belts. because I have, in fact, changed them up.
If I was more technologically inclined, the TAW viewers would also see it as well. But I'm not, so take that.
You just have to watch both.
Yeah, watch both, get the full experience.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Save a Referee. Oh, sorry, wrong channel.
Whoa. Nobody says anything about saving the referee. I'm cooking one right now.
David gets, yeah, that explains why we haven't seen Alfred in a while. All right.
Slaving away.
His ribs are being cooked even as we speak.
Being slaving away at the TA dub.
That's right. And by the way, just in case none of this airs on TAP, welcome to Super Jam Session Random Sessions. I'm going to go jack off in the corner now.
Isn't that what we always do?
All right. While you're over there banging your meat, which one should I use for the bag grappler? The world title, the big gold, or the NXT belt? They're both toys.
You go with the big gold for the good one.
Big gold for the good one, NXT for the bad one?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we all know NXT is the children's brand.
It is.
Those are our imitation grapplies.
Yeah.
And
looking real saucy.
Oh,
Also, guess what my future mother-in-law did today? And no, she did not sit on my brother's face. That's what I did. She got me a 12-pack of Monster Energy because I'm going to die.
Bro, you don't have to drink them all at once.
That is incorrect, Skyler. What else am I supposed to do?
You don't have to challenge him like that, Skyler.
I have been challenged on this day. Andy,
here we go.
Andy has already instructed me to not drink more than one a day because she doesn't want me to pass away. Even though that's what I want.
Are you okay, man?
No, I've watched too much AEW this year.
Brittany, if you're in danger, blink once. That's a reference to my own music. I'm sad neither of you got that. You're all promoting. Wow. I'm disappointed.
Well, we haven't done an ABP spot in a while. Or Rusty.
Go listen. Anyway, here you go. We're actually doing a loop show. Fun fact: we're doing a live stream loop show on the Abizzle OG channel, which is gonna be like the Mark Rebbe. We're gonna freestyle, rap, and improv, and sing, and do a whole mess of fun. We're doing a DJ show. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be on New Year's Day. I don't know at what point on New Year's Day, but it's happening.
At some point, you have 24 hours to make a decision, Sean.
That's right. And here we go. Grapplys ahoy.
Grapplys ahoy. Me and my new Attack on Titan shirt that my brother got me. And my...
Welcome everyone to the Grapplys here live in living color. Merry Holimus for every single one of you. And it is once again way too goddamn dark in here. And every time I get an attempt to make this holiday themed and lit, because I've got green and red lights up here, all it does is just make it harder for you to see my relatively smiling face and relatively happy face. But I am not here alone, because there are ghosts that haunt my house, and I also record a podcast once every quarter, apparently now. It seems to be our schedule, but...
There's Sean right there.
I must first introduce myself. I am your Colonial Champion Sean McCarty, here to do our third rendition of the Grapplys. With me, as always, the man of the hour, the man with the power. He is too sweet to be sour, the Bay Area Brawler himself, Skyler Greenberg. How you doing, buddy?
You tricked me. This was supposed to be a Fiddler on the Roof show.
I would not take you to a Fiddler on the Roof show. I wouldn't do that to you. That's way better. Hello, people. Hello, people. Now you can see me. No more mood lighting for you. I guess the tree's all you get.
But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Well, hello, everybody. Merry Xmas or something. Jew boy over here.
Well, Skyler, it's actually because of you that we have made this a Christmas tradition, which I have actually quite enjoyed over the past 3 years. Having the evening of Christmas Day be spent just talking about the wrestling. What did we get this year? And boy, we got a lot this year. But speaking of people who get a lot where the sun don't shine, the man with no introduction, JoshAgeddon. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good because I have 2 swords. Ah!
Folks, you're gonna have to see the actual podcast version of this. That's gonna debut in a couple of days at the time of this to figure out what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a very interesting dynamic here because not only are you getting the live stream here today, but we are also releasing this footage additionally as a podcast itself where you see JoshAgeddon's endangerments as he...
My bastardization.
Well, however he wants to describe how his parents had him is up to him. That is a different story.
Man.
We've got the good, the bad, and the ugly to talk about here, and we've got a lot of categories to get through. So, for those of you who are not aware of the concept, the Grapplys are our year-end awards where we give out 2 belts, and I've changed the designs this year. And if you see JoshAgeddon's versions, he has his own versions, which are the Wish versions of these versions. But
What'd you say about virgins?
You know what I said about virgins, but speaking of Skyler,
Here's Sean's
talk
versions.
a little bit about this particular belt you see right here.
It's the Cart Angle You Suck Grapply belt on a toy.
Yes, sir. It is a... Do you know which belt this is actually underneath this particular design title plate?
I know it's Velcro belt. It's one of the toy belts that you have. I don't know which one.
It is actually not a Velcro belt. It is a snap belt. A very old snap belt with pieces of the leather missing.
How dare you assume, Skyler, that Sean would low and debase himself to buying Velcro? Shame. For shame.
Listen, we've all made mistakes once, okay?
Yeah.
If you want to hear the fun story of this, it's actually the undisputed WWE Championship. When I was 9 years old, my mother, who thought that wrestling was a phase for me, and still does, but that's okay, she's come to terms with it. She got this belt. It was the first world title belt that I ever had.
That is, I have never related to you more, Sean. Except my...
Everyone has this story with their mother.
Well, my mom has long since given up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a given up thing. I mean, you know what? Actually, my mom came down once. I can't remember what WrestleMania it was, but my mom came down in the middle of me watching AJ Styles versus Randy Orton, and enjoyed the match.
My mom,
had fun watching it. It was
my mom loves Rey Mysterio because he flips.
Well, he's the best of the flippers still. At 50 goddamn 5, he's the best of the flippers.
Yeah.
Or however old.
48.
I was about to say, that sounds a little too old.
I mean, I still think he'd be able to do it at 55 better than most
Sean,
people.
it doesn't matter how many years you tack onto him, he's not getting taller.
77.
Okay.
He's going to be 88, and he's going to be doing this stuff better than everyone else is.
Yeah, basically.
And
he's only planning to retire until he's 120.
That's right. So, thankfully, Vince froze his contract enough after those injuries in the early 20-teens that he'll basically be there until he's, 10 years after he's dead.
Remember, he's had surgery on his knee 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, multiply that by 4 now. It's like,
well,
you can't ever forget that. So, if you suck, you get this belt. It's as simple as that, folks. It's the King belt. It's the You Tried belt. And speaking of kids, I feel like the company that represents kids, or the Steve Buscemi of kids.
I'm not going to get that one. I'm not going to get that one.
So then we have this guy, and this one is a more recent acquisition. And this is a replica belt that I've gotten this year, but I have customized it more to match the Grapplys style. And I basically gave it a mustache. And also,
didn't that title already have a mustache?
Maybe. But I gave it a mustache, and pay no attention to any of the logo or branding. That is all clearly Court Martial Podcast logos.
Yeah,
so this is
like the one right beside me. Subscribe to the Court Martial Podcast.
That's right.
They upload periodically.
Yes, absolutely. And this is the best Grapply, and the winners of the best Grapply will receive this award here tonight.
Sean, you are more of a man than I because I'm not holding these belts the whole time.
Well, I'm going to not wear the suit jacket the whole time, and I'm just going to celebrate a different win streak of sorts, because at the time of recording, somehow, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won 4 straight games, and if I may cite tangent for a bit, there are only 2 teams that have a win streak of 4 or more. Do you know what they are, Skyler?
The 49ers.
49ers are 1.
The Buccaneers.
Buccaneers are 2.
And the Ravens.
And the Ravens are 3.
Why didn't you ask me this question, Sean? I feel excluded.
Because we need to save your NFL energy for the playoff quick thoughts. Subscribe to SJS version 2.
Fuck version
Link is
1.
in the description.
If you're subscribed to version 1, you need to get out of town.
That's right. Matt Hardy owns that now, and we're really not trying to endorse him anymore.
Yeah.
So, well, and speaking of, why don't we? I'm going to go down the list of categories that I have brought to the table.
Before you get into that, I real quick, since this is the end of the year, what are your guys' thoughts on 2023 in wrestling thus far? Just general thoughts of the year.
Got a week left, so a lot can happen in a week.
No, it's not. The WWE is doing clip shows this week.
They're doing a clip show in 30 minutes at the time of this recording.
Well,
Oh, what, are we counting World's End?
I mean, I'll probably watch it because I'm a masochist.
I mean, I won't.
I know you won't.
Yeah, and if we find out that the devil is Jack Perry, I'm going to force us to record another podcast and talk about it.
I mean, honestly, I would be all right with that.
I don't even care. I really don't. And I guess that's really my summary of 2023. 2023 in wrestling has been the Titanic that barely left the dock hit the iceberg. And it was a stabilizer for one company and a complete downward spiral for the other.
Yeah.
And we all collectively, basically, all in different forms, gave up one form or another on either AEW or Tony Khan specifically.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of things that have changed in the business, although it feels like the industry is as similar as it's always been. Because, like, the more things change, the more they stay the same, and WWE is not going any damn where, and that's been very, very clear as a result of what 2023 brought us.
Well, for me personally, for one company, I've completely given up. Like, I hate AEW. It is an absolute train wreck, and it's the worst. I don't understand how they have any supporters at this point. For WWE, this is honestly, I mean, it's kind of sad when you think about it, but this is the best year, like calendar year, WWE has had in a while, because the second half of 2022 was good. It was improving, but the first half of 2022, awful. Basically, all of 2021 was awful. 2020 was basically a missable year because of COVID. 2019 wasn't that great. 2018 wasn't that great. 2017 had its moments. 2016 was hit or miss. And I could go on. So this has been... 2023 was... I would give, like, WWE a B for the year. And it's...
Yeah, they stabilized.
Yeah.
They stabilized.
And I hope...
It's the first time in a long time that any of us have had any optimism about Stamford, Connecticut's own WWE. Even though it's under new management at this point, and things are changing for the better, question mark.
Yeah.
Gradually.
Very gradually.
And and we said at the beginning when this whole thing went down, I mean, the fact that during this year there was an outright, this year started with Vince taking insurrection control over his company again.
Yeah.
That's where this year began.
Dude, do you...
All the way up until Endeavor was like, dude, get this guy out of here.
Put him in a home.
Yeah, and they literally like, I will go ambassador away, go be business Vince, but don't be around the WWE product.
Do you remember that one week where everyone was convinced that the Saudis were buying WWE and we were all just waving the white flag? Yeah. That was scary.
Yeah. I mean, the sale of WWE was such a huge way to start the year. You know, and then that's beyond just the moments on the shows that we have that we're going to talk about as far as, you know, the other categories that we brought to the Grapplys here today. But it's incredible just how much happened in the wrestling business away from the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what happened with CM Punk?
Yeah.
It started with Vince returning to WWE and ended with Punk returning to WWE because Vince had been pushed out of WWE. And Tony Khan's a moron.
Yeah, basically. This has been like, last year was the most insane year. This year I don't feel like was as insane, but there were still some pretty crazy moments. Looking at you, Billy Corgan.
I mean, yeah, we'll get the Billy Corgan
later.
Oh,
we will.
But to me, this has kind of like been a big transition year. I think we were kind of all optimistic that Triple H could change everything in a single year and fix all the problems with WWE. And we kind of had to come to the realization that no, he's not going to. But the progress is there. I see the progress. Things are happening. It's slowly getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Is it everything that I want? No. Is it getting to where I want it to be? Absolutely. And with anything else in wrestling, it just takes time.
Yeah,
I just wish that it would go faster.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. But it is a process.
It is. It definitely is a process. And with each time that, you know, it's amazing just how different the landscape of who is interesting in the business has changed over the course of last year or the start of this year, all the way up until the end of this year. Like, who are the important players from then versus who are the important players now? Here's a couple constants, but where they are and why they're important have drastically changed.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have ourselves some fun kind of jumping all over the place. So I've got myself the sheet, and you can see there's a whole hell of a lot of categories.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all my nominations for those of you who want to read all that, but I'm going to write yours down, and then we're all going to give our nominees and then give a winner.
Yeah.
And so...
You the fans, you don't get a vote.
Well, no, you do get a vote. You
like, comment, and subscribe. That's what you get.
Tell us what we missed. You have to tell us what we missed, because obviously we are not going to get everybody, and there's going to be matches that we haven't seen that are probably better or worse than this. I mean, everybody has a say, and everybody gets along. And
easy, Jesse.
And so we're going to go down the list here. So we have the best moment. This is the Grapply, the best Grapply. This is the best Grapply. There are no better Grapplys than this Grapply. I have the best Grapply. There are no better Grapplys. And I said this Grapply was better than their Grapplys. And they don't want you to know how good this Grapply is.
I actually, this is the best Grapply. It's the big gold toy belt that was $20.
I wish this for $20.
No, you don't. Well, mine has Velcro, so fuck me.
Yes. Well, there you go. You've earned that. But in any case, we have the best moment of the year, kind of, but our best moment of everything that's taken place. In the ring, we have the best male superstar, male wrestler of the year, female wrestler of the year, tag team of the year, promo of the year, match of the year, promoter/booker. If you want to make the distinction between them, we can. We don't necessarily have to, but I have them kind of in the same vein. The show of the year, the feud of the year, and then the most improved or the biggest upgrade of the year. and we'll talk about everything that entails. And that's for this bad boy. Mm-hmm. And then for our other categories, our wimpy trademark category, we have the worst male of the year, worst female, worst tag team, worst promo, worst match, worst promoter/booker, worst show, worst feud, what I've called the regression session, which is whoever has to not necessarily be worth the salt that we initially had given them credit for. In fact, are unseasoned bland meat altogether. And the reverse of the best moment is the what I've called the what the fuck cringe me moment. And we will get into all of those. And because we have 20 categories, I am going to step out of frame and be a nerd and find my 20-sided die, and we are going to roll.
Well, real quick, Sean, do you also want to touch on the people that we've lost this year, real quick?
Well, I don't want to touch them, but I will mention them in memoriam before we get it going here.
Damn it! No, I don't want to touch them by myself. Zip!
Well, first of all, they're all in different cemeteries. That's going to take a while to travel out and touch every corpse and exhume all the bodies. I don't even know where half these people are. I don't know who's been cremated.
You underestimate my willingness to succeed, Sean.
No, I've never questioned your determination. Sanity, perhaps, but determination. But in any case,
this went to a dark place real quick.
That's right. Well,
like a cemetery. Cemeteries are dark places.
Cemetery. Well, let's start with we got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 11 names because I can't seem to count at this moment. And feel free to grunt your disapproval or respects as I list the names. Bray Wyatt.
That one probably hurt the most because it came out of left field.
It did.
And he's is he like the youngest this year?
He was 36, I believe. Yes, he was, of the ones that I have listed.
Like, it's not very often that, like, someone that you follow, regardless of what you think of the work he was putting in, like, someone that you're just used to seeing on TV regularly, just one day, oh, yeah, this person died. Like,
well, they were trying to do something with him at the beginning of the year, and we don't really know what that was.
It was
more on that in a minute.
It was eerily similar to the whole Brody Lee thing because he just vanished from TV, and then we found out that he died. And with Bray Wyatt, he just vanished off TV. Except it was a lot longer of a just where is Bray before he passed away. So,
but also good on WWE for posthumously signing him to a Legends contract, so his wife and kids will be paid for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, no, this is no laughing matter, definitely, and posthumously. That is a very valuable thing to do. Yeah. To do. But in any case, the thing too was that we had heard word that he had had COVID and he had battled, a couple sicknesses while he was away before he made his return at what was it, Extreme Rules?
Yeah, it was Extreme Rules 2022.
Yes.
What might possibly be the last Extreme Rules pay-per-view WWE ever does.
Maybe, because there really wasn't that much extreme about it.
Yeah, it was.
It was, to this day, I would say that's probably the worst pay-per-view that is under Triple H's belt so far.
Yeah.
That one was pretty, But in any case, we're getting too stuck in the past here. But it's just a shame because Bray was just that guy of perpetual potential.
Yeah.
He always had potential to do something, but it always turned out to be nothing.
It was either nothing or the wacky goo-ga stuff like spooky scary skeletons and
Vince trying to recreate Undertaker by
unsuccessfully.
And it wasn't any good most of the time. And I felt for Bray because he wasn't even that bad of a worker. It's just he didn't have a good appeal, It's just he didn't have good people backing what he was trying to do, and I also don't necessarily think that Bray was one to know when to rein it in.
Yeah.
But regardless, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yes, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. We can talk about his legacy another time. And actually, he is one of the most discussed people on this podcast. And that just because we've had to talk about the state of him so often, about what's he doing and where is he going. And we made a superstar spotlight, I think, 3 times. He was somebody that was captivating enough, good or bad, to do that with. Moving right along, speaking of, at 39, Jay Briscoe in another tragic accident.
Yeah. Drunk driving. Don't ever do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even him, it was just the other person that hit him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's equally more tragic is just how Mark Briscoe now is just jobbing in a tournament that means nothing for a belt that is worthless. And
the fact that Mark Briscoe is like, what is he in last place in whatever bracket he's in?
He's lost every match he's been in, I think, unless he beat Jay Lethal this week.
He did.
Oh, good for him.
Yay.
Yeah, it's been, but there was a time, I was going to have him when we were still doing ACPW and NWL, he was going to face MJF in the main event of the next pay-per-view I was going to do. I mean, there was a position to do that, and it was just, you really felt for the whole Briscoe family. I still do, because that happened right out of nowhere. And but then there's some stalwarts that you kind of knew were on their way out.
Yeah.
Iron Sheik.
I miss his Twitter.
I won't lie to you. I thought that dude was gonna live forever. He was one of those guys that he could do as many drugs as he wanted, which he clearly did, and it didn't matter. He was gonna just lay it on the line and say all that ridiculous stuff that he said so frequently. And yeah, so rest in peace.
And may he live on forever. Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
That's right.
Break his back. Make him humble.
Raising balls.
Pontiac Silverdome.
And then speaking of people that Hulk Hogan took a bit of a gimmick from, superstar Billy Graham passed away.
Yeah.
That's one that I thought was going to happen sooner.
Well, he's been sick for 40 years. He's had ailments of one form or another because, and I've often suspected that a lot of that was just the early days of steroids and human growth hormones where you did not know what they were giving you. And all of the side effects of all of that just completely warped his body. It's nowhere near the way it is now, which is at least a little bit more regulated. But he was another late stalwart, another one but thought it'd be later. Another one kind of on that list, Darren Drozdov. He was, in his 50s, but given the accident he had,
I forgot about that one.
You knew he had a shelf life.
Yeah.
That one's a sad one.
I mean, wasn't he in one of the Dark Side of the Ring episodes?
Yes, he was for the Brawl for All, I believe.
And he looked happy in that, so hopefully
he's in good spirits.
Yeah, hopefully he went out with good spirits.
Yeah. And then next on that list is one of the Bushwhackers, Bushwhacker Butch, passed away. And then we had then we have 3 that are very close to my heart. One because I think it was actually a heart attack that did this man in. Mantor passed away.
Aww.
And that new guy, the mini Mantor, what's his name? Black Taurus, who wrestles for Impact with the bull thing on his head. Have you seen this guy?
He was the guy that Vikingo couldn't splash on top of 3 times.
I
We're-
sense in that groan a little discontent.
We're going to talk about that later, I'm sure, when we get to just botches and just what the hell is wrong with you.
Well,
That... Skyler, that single hand... Like, I didn't really care that much for Vikingo, but that absolutely killed him for me. Just... Abandon the spot! Abandon the spot! That's all I'm saying.
no, you don't just keep trying and keep trying. Not when you're live in front of people. That's practice shit. You do that we talk about practice.
Let me tell you...
Even Allen Iverson understands that.
Sean, let me tell you what this made me think of, and I think you're going to appreciate this reference. You know about how Sonic 06 is considered one of the worst Sonic games ever?
Yes.
In that game, there's a part where someone off-screen is saying a line of dialogue, but they flub the line, and they do a retake. But the game was so rushed out the door that botch and retake is in the final game. That's what that was like.
What?
I'm not joking. There's a part where an agent is talking over an earpiece to Shadow the Hedgehog. The dude flubs his line and retakes, but it's in the final game. There's a blooper in the game.
That is a mockery, bro.
That is Vikingo.
Well, they should have done a lot more leaping, like this man leaping Lanny Poffo.
Yeah.
And I am sad to lose leaping Lanny Poffo because he was a fun guy to listen to, in a very unique voice. And last but not least, certainly not least, the man who transformed professional wrestling and arguably one of the greatest promoters of all time, Jerry Jarrett. And he was a legend. I'm glad before we really started to slow down this channel, we got to talk a little bit in depth about Jerry and the legacy that he left. So now that we're done with the dead people, would you like to talk about dying promotions and one that is starting to revive itself?
Was it this year or last year that Terry Funk passed away?
It was this year, at the same time as Bray Wyatt.
Yes, I thought I mentioned Terry Funk in that same round of blunt, but yes, Terry Funk is another one who also passed, and he's another one that you kind of thought would live forever.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know...
That was a rough week. That was a rough week.
It was a rough week. That was a really rough week.
One right after it felt like they were just dropping like flies. That week sucked. That week sucked.
Yeah, and thankfully we didn't have any more of that immediate docket.
Yeah.
But it is time to talk about awards. So,
hey,
are
Sean.
you gentlemen ready?
Yes, now that I have a bag of Smarties that I got for Christmas today.
Okay. Well, we rolled lucky number 13. So,
Is that good or bad?
Andy would be freaking out right now because Taylor Swift.
that means we are starting with the Suck Grappling for the worst tag team of the year.
Oh no.
Let us begin with a great tag team and the nomination that we are going to hear from you, Skyler.
Okay, so worst tag team of the year, and there are so many contenders.
Yeah.
There are so many contenders. Here's the thing. As much as you or may not feel this way, Joshua, I still have to give this man the worst. Or these brothers the worst. Simply for the things that they were involved with this year, and simply for the things that they continue to be involved with and continue to do. It is Maddie and Nikki, buddy.
My God.
The Bucks. Buckaroos.
Bucks. And they didn't even really have that many matches this year, did they?
The only reason why those aren't my pick is because I've not seen them. I've seen them have that one match with FTR at All In. That's all I've seen of them this year.
That's all I remember.
That's the only thing of note that they've done. Well,
yeah.
in ring.
Good.
JoshAgeddon,
But still,
your pick.
fuck it.
For me, I don't think there's a lot of bad teams. I just don't think there are that many teams to speak of. So many of them are just two wrestlers slapped together. But there's one team that I'm really sick of, and they're actually starting to break up a little bit, and I'm happy. But it kind of also goes to how I feel this one particular guy has been absolutely wasted for the past year and a half. I know it's technically a stable, but these two team together a lot. I hate the team of Butch and Ridge Holland.
Okay.
Ridge Holland is an anchor that is dragging Pete Dunne down, and the name Butch is another anchor that is dragging Pete Dunne down. It looks like they're separating those two because Ridge Holland is now in NXT. I wish that he would go to MLW so we would never have to see him again, but that's neither here nor there.
And the worst part is that they're doing the injury angle where he broke Ilya Dragunov's neck.
Of course.
To pay back the Big E's neck, like...
Of course.
Did he actually?
No, they did an injury angle where they, like, oh my god.
You have to check, though. That's kind of my issue with him.
But the thing is, and it's just the same thing over and over again. The Brawling Brutes sucked. Like, it had something back in Extreme Rules last year a little bit, even though we all hated Ridge Holland, and we all felt so bad for Butch. But at this point, I'm just like, just kill it. And it looks like they finally did, but still, there was no excuse for wasting Pete Dunne in this crap. And every time I saw Ridge Holland and Butch teaming together, it just irritated me.
Yeah, and so my pick for the worst tag team of the year, they got brought back for the purpose of trying to, it was in that initial wave of Triple H recruits to get people of his that he liked back into the building. Some of them worked out. Some of them did not. And the ones that really did not and ended up becoming a meme almost and then getting fired at the, a couple of months ago. And we have not seen them since because, from what I hear, we're instead getting Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain to come back. Instead, my vote for worst tag team of the year is Top Dollar, or Flop Dollar, or whatever the name of Hit Row, Skid Row.
Shit Row.
Shit Row.
Leroy Benson and Jesse Collins.
Everything about the second go around with Shit Row was just shit. It was so bad.
Yeah, they got released, I think it was like October. And so...
Well, Top Dollar got released. The other guy didn't.
Ashanti the Dentist.
I think that's word, it still counts.
And
so,
B-Fab. Don't forget about B-Fab.
B-Fab, yeah, I am done. So we've got, for our nominees, Hit Row, the Bucks, and Butch Ridge and Holland Dunn. Who's our winner, folks?
They're all terrible.
Yeah.
All terrible. Three-way tie?
And well, here's the thing. Do you guys have anybody that you lean towards amongst those three tag teams?
Honestly,
Not especially.
simply because they refused that meeting to reconcile with CM Punk or to have some kind of ceasefire or whatever. That kind of leans me towards the Bucks, the young fucks.
Yeah.
So if I have to pick one of those three, I'll pick the Bucks.
Yeah, it's like, sadly, I'm trying to do it based on their in-ring work, but at the end of the day, like, their character speaks against them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they win this award literally every year.
Yeah.
Although, it's been a neck and neck with Shitty and Poopy.
Mm-hmm.
It's been neck and neck, and I think the Shitty and Poopy have won one of them.
I haven't even thought about
They won the last two, Shitty and Poopy. If it were not for Bobby Lashley saving their careers, they would be 3 straight.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about them.
That's enough. Yeah, okay. So, well, congratulations, Butch. You won something legitimately. So, the Young Bucks are going to roll their way into our first winning category, and now we roll a perfect 20, so we're going to continue in the suck. It's like a vacuum in here, boys. We're doing our...
It feels so right.
Yes, oh yes. What the fuck cringe me moment. And so this is your most spectacularly bad moment of the year. And my moment is one, I actually kind of wish we had done this one a little bit later, but it's okay. Because you guys both know what I'm putting up for this list.
Yep.
You know what this is because it brings me such joy.
Yep.
And it's... I have something else for the worst match of the year because I genuinely do not think this was the worst match of the year. This has gone from it's so comically bad to it is a masterpiece of just bad material. It's a masterclass of ass. And that is not even talking about the gluteal extremities of either of these two ladies. It is Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam 2020.
Can you not say shit like that when I'm swallowing?
The whole match.
My Smarties almost came out of my nose.
What? What did I say?
The Vixenemies or whatever.
Oh, the masterclass of ass?
Yeah.
Or gluteal extremities.
That gluteal extremities. You said that right while I was swallowing Smartie.
Yeah. I say a lot of things when they're swallowing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
I still haven't seen that match, but I swear at some point I will watch that match, and I will let you know my exact thoughts of that match.
Well, that is my nomination. Skyler, why don't you give us yours next while I slowly step out of frame to just admire the view of the Colonial Dungeon real quick.
Oh, it is quite admirable.
Here's the thing, is that while that's a very good nomination by Sean, there cannot be any other moment that is the cringe moment of the year than Real Glass, Crimea River.
That's one of the two I was thinking of.
Right.
Again, I'm sorry, but that's the moment because that's
That was a
when
chain
they went off the deep end.
That was a chain reaction right there. As classic as Ronda and Shayna was, that was a chain reaction that set off a whole set of ridiculous events. So, Sky might bring the winning nominee to the table again, unless JoshAgeddon has something to top that. I'm writing that down as Jackass Perry. Do I need to say any more?
I was thinking of two moments. That was one of them. Because if it weren't for that, CM Punk would not be back in WWE. Or maybe not.
We'd be looking at AEW as a sinking ship.
Yeah. But the other thing I'm thinking of, that when I heard about this, I damn near laughed till I cried. Billy Corgan gets a TV deal for the NWA. Finally, they have their teeth sunk into something. Not even a week later, they have their stupid pay-per-view, and you have these jack-offs in the corner with strippers, and they're snorting cocaine, and and they lose the TV deal over that to WWE and NXT. That...
Now, Joshua, did you see during that, at the beginning of the show, those strippers had James Mitchell masks on. So James Mitchell introduced them while they were wearing masks of him. And, like, the whole premise of the first match is that there are 8 dudes under his control and the winning team got free. That's what they were presenting that show and that night. And then cocaine.
Oi, oi, oi. And then losing the TV deal that they just got. That made me laugh so fucking hard. To NXT. And the kicker was, oh yeah, you can still do shows on the CW app.
That is my vote for WTF kicking yourself in the balls moment of the year. But Cry Me a River, that probably is like unanimous. Like if it weren't for that, then Billy Corgan would win. But yeah, got to give it to Jackass Perry.
Yeah, chain link. Wow, I rolled another 20. That's why. Okay, here we go. Well, congratulations, Jack Perry. You legitimately won something. And
not a fight backstage, a Grapply.
That's right.
How long until he comes back on TV?
Dude.
Well, you said something about a devil gimmick?
Dude, you know, the second he cuts a promo on Dynamite, he's going to be drowned in CM Punk chants.
Well, you know, the craziest thing is, if he actually knew what he was doing in the wrestling business, he would have just been given the biggest gift in history. Because he's going to come back with stupid heat.
Yeah.
Stupid heat.
And he's not going to know what to do with it.
He's not going to know what to do with it.
And
Tony's not going to know either.
Yeah, and Tony is going to like do something stupid with him.
Yes, and that is a fact. So, now we move on to some good stuff. It's about time we get to the good moments.
Positivity!
That's right. So, we are going to...
Fuck the New Day.
We're going to put our Crapply...
Ha ha!
We're going to put the Crapply away and go to the Grapply, and this is for the ladies in the chat.
Ooh.
So,
Sean wants to slide into your DMs.
It is our female wrestler of the year, and I will let JoshAgeddon take this one first, with accent notwithstanding.
Well, Governor, there's only one real option here. I don't know why we're doing this. Basically, there is one female, honestly, all year that has been worth watching in either company. We all know who it is. It's Rhea Ripley. Like, she had the best women's match of the year. She's had, she hasn't had consistently best match of the year, like, every show, but she's the only female in wrestling that has any modicum of star power. So that's my vote, Rhea Ripley.
I would agree. I would agree entirely that I did not really feel like there was another choice to be had.
There's one.
Can I attempt to make another nomination?
You can
No,
attempt.
it's not Bianca Belair.
Beloved is Bianca Belair.
Why? Okay.
She is.
For Bianca Belair, you have 15 seconds. Go.
Her moment at Mania with the little girls from Harlem was really cool, really sweet. She's still one of the best wrestlers on the women's division, and she's still a star and still has power within that company as the babyface John Cena.
She is as cold as the ice cubes in my freezer.
No, hold on, Joshua. Let me just be very clear about something, okay? Bianca had a great first half of the year. Second half, not so much, and that's why Rhea's going to win this. But I just want to acknowledge Bianca and WWE for the cool gesture they did, especially for the little girl that lost her mom to cancer the day of Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sweet. That was definitely sweet. And you know what's funny is we expected somewhat that Bianca might turn at WrestleMania, and then we saw her do it, and we're like, oh no.
Yeah.
She's good. And that was fine. And
Just turns around and whips the little kid with her hair.
it's also not Bianca's fault that they're trying to
John Cena.
they're trying to salvage damage control. And that really has kept her out of the title picture in a meaningful way. Because even though she's in it, she's not really in it. Because they're trying to do this thing with Bayley and Io, and Japan versus Bayley, I guess, is where they're headed with that. But in any event, it's I will put Bianca Belair as your nominee. Who do we it's already 2-1. I don't want to say you're outnumbered.
Rhea Bloody Ripley.
I mean, again, I'm not going to argue it. Rhea Ripley's had the best year. I just want to acknowledge Bianca Belair for having a good first half of the year.
Well, I will say this. To make the case for Bianca Belair, I will say this as well. Because Bianca has definitely put in more matches and more hours in the ring and more ring time in general than Rhea has. And a lot of Rhea's matches have really not gone on very long, but that's been perfect for what she needs. because nobody's really at her level except for a key couple of people.
Nobody's ready for Rhea.
Well, yes, even though she is not Russian. And, but in any case...
Not with that attitude.
I think Rhea, well, yeah, Rich might say otherwise, actually. So.
Not when you put enough vodka in her.
Yeah, seriously. So we now move on to, so congratulations, Rhea Ripley. And you have earned this, and I believe Bianca won last year, did she not?
I believe so.
She did.
Yep, so this is the first time Rhea Ripley has earned this moniker. So
hell yeah.
Congratulations, Rhea. Moving right along, we are going to the biggest upgrade. Now, this is for the most improved wrestler, most improved person on the whoever it is, who feels more important now than they did before, in any sort of way. So the biggest upgrade in the professional wrestling industry, and you can't say NWA to, well, I guess you can technically say NWA to NXT by the CW network.
That's my pick.
That is a hell of an upgrade.
That, yeah.
I will say that there's really only, I really felt like there was only one really shoo-in answer, but I will give an honorable mention to something else at the end if one of you doesn't nominate it.
Okay.
Because this person went from having a sponsored blacklight match to world title over the course of a year and got organically over and used relatively properly because of it and wasn't buried because of it for the first time since Vince. And I think that what happened with LA Knight is a great indicator that, okay, things really are changing with how the booking is being done in the back. Because this was a test for Triple H. In the face of a guy getting organically over, what does he do? Does he bury the guy like Kane and Zack Ryder? Or does he try to give it as much gusto as he can? And I think he's done a terrific job of keeping LA Knight relevant.
I'm glad you said that, because Zack Ryder was if I was thinking that, like, if this happened organically a couple years ago, he would be another Zack Ryder.
Yeah. Yeah, or I will add another name to that hat, or a Damian Sandow.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was also in this same kind of situation, and but LA Knight found a way to make it work, and Triple H said, "All right, dude, I see you. Let's make it happen." And so LA Knight is my nomination for this. Although there is another guy I would throw into consideration for this as well, but I'm guessing one of you is going to bring him up. Let's move to Skyler.
Well, I mean, the thing is that this guy, we still had questions because we were not sure. We didn't know if he was going to be able to get back and get under the shadow of his more famous father. And he's been able to do it with flying colors. It helps that he is mommy's boy, Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, I completely softballed you that one.
I'm not even gonna lie. That was exactly who my nominee was going to be. So, and I agree. Although I feel like a lot of his maturation began in 2022, last year, but he really
fully bloomed this year.
Yes, it fully bloomed this year, and he had one of the best matches at WrestleMania this year with his dad, and he's been everywhere this year. He's been Raw, SmackDown, and he's getting CM Punk's first match back in WWE, which is nuts to think about.
Well, congratulations, Dom, because he was the other guy. And I knew one or both of you was going to say Dominic Mysterio, so it's funny. He basically got 3 votes.
Yeah.
But I had to mention LA Knight because...
here's the thing, though, is that we're not done with this debate yet.
Do you think LA Knight deserves it over Dominic? Because I would actually concede it, given that Dominic was somebody who had potential and realized it where... it's 2 different situations, but they both made the best of it. But who's getting booed more than Dominic right now?
Yeah.
They're the 2.
Well, the thing is that, but who's the bigger star? And that's kind of the thing, is that, if you look at it, LA Knight is the bigger highs. Here's the thing. We all knew that Donald was going to be fine because he was in the Judgment Day. He was in a stable that whether he was over or not, at least they were over. LA Knight was basically dead, being in the middle of a fashion gimmick. And basically, over the course of an entire year, went from a nobody to arguably one of the hottest stars in the business.
I still have nightmares about Max Dupree.
Yeah. And you could see the life he was trying his damnedest to make that work, but he was soul dead. And thankfully, they allowed this to just go back and develop and just let him be him. And it's so landmark in that respect. Because that was a turning point in the way that I viewed Triple H's booking of how he handled that situation, which was properly. You know, you catch wind and you just ride that wave, you know, and you know, just to an extent, you know, they not so far as to ruin your overall plans like what you're doing with Roman Reigns, but, you know, you still get him up there and keep the finish strong enough where he doesn't really look so bad afterwards. So, you know, I don't know. What do we think here? I kind of want to give this to both of them, to tell you the truth.
I would still lean more towards Dominic, but Skyler made a very good case for LA Knight. So, like, do we do what Michelle McCool and Layla did with the women's title and just break it in half and give them both a piece?
I'd be willing to do that in this case.
Okay.
Because they both earned it for different reasons.
I'm just pulling out the deep cut references today. We got a Sonic 06 reference, a Lay Cool reference.
So I will add and LA Knight to that. So we have time. Yeah, because it's our rules. Nobody says that we have to force one or the other.
Fucker.
There's a argument. Yeah, it's our turn. Yes, if we make it up as we go, that's how we do it.
You want to make the rules? Why don't you make a podcasting wrestling channel, bitch?
You know what?
And if you use or subscribe.
That's right, yeah. Or subscribe to ours and all of our chicanery.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're moving to another one. We're going to another good one here.
Yeah, positivity.
That's right. It is the Male Wrestler of the Year.
Dude, you know who I'm going to say. You know who I'm going to say.
I'm going to let you go first, JoshAgeddon.
I want Gunther to impregnate me already with his chops. Chop me all over my body. Just, this man resurrected. I mean, it wasn't just him. It was also the booking of him. But he resurrected a dead championship. And just about every match he has been in. I hate the Brawling Brutes, but I will steal their catchphrase that they dropped for some reason. He had banger after banger after banger after banger. He had one of the best matches at WrestleMania this year in that triple threat match with Sheamus and Drew. He was the best draw match-wise as far as Monday Night Raw is concerned, because, like, didn't their ratings spike whenever his segment was on?
They did. And that was on purpose, because it was a selling point for the network. I
love this man. And you can tell because, like, at first we all hated when they changed his name from Walter to Gunther. He's so good as Gunther that I'm okay with the name change. They made me okay with a shitty name change.
Yeah, I mean, and also, you have to give him credit because what Walter looks like and what Gunther looks like are two different dudes.
Yes, that is a huge part of it.
He got in wicked shape.
Yes, he did.
Wicked shape over the past couple of years, just beating the piss out of people. Mm-hmm. And it's just he's another triumph. And you know, you gotta give credit to Vince for that one, because even though he had that one weird loss in the NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
But once he debuted on the main roster proper, Vince took care of him enough to give him that Intercontinental title in the first place and let him roll with it. And then Triple H made sure to take care of him beyond that to keep him into the legendary run that he's got now.
Yeah, and Gunther also likes to cook things in a microwave when he's hungry.
Yes, me too. Skyler, you're male wrestler of the year.
I mean, here's the thing, is that I wanted to, in a way, do this where I could nominate this man for both best and worst, but I don't think that's going to happen, but still. Look in my eyes. What do you see? A cult of personality.
Okay. I mean...
In a way, he could be best and worst.
Well, I just don't remember exactly just how much he's done this year in the ring.
Yeah,
Well, not much.
Yeah,
It was a small window.
Yeah.
It was the best 2 months of Collision.
Yeah.
It was the only 2 months of Collision.
Basically.
He left on a good match with Samoa Joe.
Yeah. And he was responsible for one hell of a cliffhanger at Survivor Series. And the promo...
Tell me when he's telling lies.
The promo between him and Seth Rollins on Raw was gold.
Yes.
Despite Sean complaining about the monotonous camera cuts. Or was that Skyler?
That was me.
Oh, yeah, it was Skyler.
Well,
I mean, it was still terrible.
Yeah, that is true, but... Yeah.
You just hit on something here because I am going to Luigi my way into this conversation by throwing the name that I have been talking about literally all year. Seth Rollins.
That's a good pick.
I really appreciated what Seth has done with this World Heavyweight Championship, even though it is the tertiary belt. It is number 3, in the line of the 2 belts that Roman Reigns has, which is now just 1 and his.
Honestly, I thought you were referring to Roman and Gunther with the Intercontinental title.
But that's fair.
Here's the thing, though, is that I want to open this up more than just 3 nominations because there are more than 3 men worthy for this award.
I think that's fair, but let me finish with Seth, though. Because Seth's matches have all been different, with different people, with different vibes, even though his clothing is ridiculous, and his prancing is ridiculous, and the gimmick is just silly, and really the song is what gets people, but Seth is such a good worker that it works for him. It's not just his song. I think people do really like and respect what Seth Rollins has brought to the table and does bring to the table. And this year was a showcase of that against a variety of people that he could have had better opponents defending that World Heavyweight title against, but he made the best out of everything that he was handed this year, enough to make the Judgment Day look more impressive without ever giving them the belt.
Yeah.
And also allowing other guys like Nakamura and Brawler a chance to have matches that they wouldn't get against Roman Reigns because it just doesn't feel realistic enough for what they're doing with that belt. I don't know how else to describe that. I know that sounds like a knock, but it's just a different vibe.
Yeah.
And Seth Rollins knows how to cater to that vibe. And I think if they're distinguishing Roman Reigns as the ultra-theatrical champion and Seth Rollins' belt as the actual in-ring wrestling belt, and that's the way Triple H is trying to market these 2 shows, that would be a very interesting way to approach the future of WWE. But I think Seth Rollins has really, really done a ton to really cement my respect for him as such a diverse worker this year. And I don't know how many more years we're going to get of Seth Rollins doing this kind of deal. And I really hope, and especially with the icing on the cake, being the realest Seth Rollins we've gotten all year in that confrontation with CM Punk.
He got me so hard when he looked at Punk and was like, I'm going to be real with you. I hate you. We need more just solid I hate yous in wrestling.
Look, every time that Seth Rollins gets serious, it's good television.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he set Riddle off when he talked about all very true things about his wife and all that, and he's like, and Riddle's like, I will fuck you up. I will fuck you up.
He should have mentioned his drug problem.
And we were all like, bro. And we all kicked and pelicans flew out our assholes. And
I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that anymore. Like, I think it's safe to say that of the three of us, I liked Riddle the most. But
keyword was liked.
Yeah, in past tense, ever since he outed himself as a fucking doofus, I don't jibe with him anymore. I never understood the rainbow animals coming out of his toenails.
Nobody did. Nobody did.
I don't think Weed does that. Sean.
No, I can guarantee you. As a matter of fact, while Skyler is telling you the other nominations he had in mind, I'm gonna verify this information for you.
I'm gonna consult my bong. Hey, if I inhale this, are animals gonna come out of my toes? And why weren't they all covered in jam?
Hold on. Can we just, besides the obvious like LA Knight stuff, I also think we have to give a shout out to Mr. Woe himself, Cody Rhodes.
Agreed.
For, again, remaking himself and becoming the biggest babyface in all of wrestling.
He took that loss at WrestleMania that should have been a win, but whatever. That honestly could have counted as one of our WTF moments, them having Roman beat Cody at WrestleMania this year. But he took that in stride, and we were worried that might really seriously hurt his babyface momentum, but it really didn't. Even though they never really gave a reason as to why Brock attacked him, Brock put him over really strong, and that really helped. And although he's kind of been coasting ever since the Brock thing, not gonna lie,
well, they're waiting to get him back to the Rumble so he can start finishing his story.
Yeah,
I hope.
We hope.
I have no qualms about this at all.
I'm not getting my hopes up for Mania 40.
Especially because of the amount of people and challengers there are now.
Yeah.
A lot has changed since last year and Cody Rhodes and the stars aligning at the exact moment they needed to for Cody Rhodes. It may be what we want for Cody Rhodes, but it may not be what is best for WWE come WrestleMania time. That is what concerns me.
I do not want to see Roman Reigns as champion for another fucking year.
You won't see him at all because he doesn't appear.
That's the problem!
But that's why there's Seth Rollins, which is why he's my pick. So we've got quite a few people to list on there. Who do you think gets the flowers?
That's a tough
I'm
one.
going to make my nomination by explaining everybody's kind of characteristics and why this guy wins over all of them. Gunther, I think, has had the best in-ring matches.
Mm-hmm.
I think LA Knight has had the best promos. I think Cody Rhodes is the biggest over star. And CM Punk, obviously, again, is the most controversial. But Seth Rollins is all of those things put together.
That is true.
He is the only one that is the complete and total package amongst the different nominees. And he has been the one to be there the entire year in WWE. And that's kind of what tips it.
Start to finish.
This is because he's the only wrestler, by the way, who has appeared on every WWE premium live event. I found out that today. I'm like, okay, that's what's going to get him the win.
And his main evented quite a few of them. You know, and say what you want. And another big credit to Seth Rollins. He got Finn Balor over for me.
Yeah.
Just saying, that is a huge accomplishment.
He got a
huge accomplishment.
He got. Listen, I'll top that. He got a semi-decent match out of Omos.
I did not see that.
It was not bad because Seth was in it.
Not have. It wasn't good.
It was not awful.
Great, but it wasn't.
It was mid. It was mid, which mid is way above Omas's pay grade.
Wow. And I remembered, actually, as I was flipping through my notes, I forgot that we had an Omos versus Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania.
And that was also not terrible.
It was a match.
Yeah.
It was a match. But congratulations to Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And to all of our nominees, because this really has been a good year for a lot of talent.
Gunther, I love you.
It displays that we're at a point now where there's a lot of really good male talent in WWE, which it hasn't felt like it's been there for a long time. Had John Cena been around for the entire year, maybe he wasn't up there. I mean, if Randy stays healthy, he's going to be up there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of really good guys who are going to be part of WWE's 2024, and that's exciting.
And it's not even that they have a lot of talent with them right now, which they do. They've always had a lot of talent. But for the first time, they're actually doing something about it.
Yeah, and that's really the game changer there. We rolled a 16, gents, and this is going to be one that I think is going to be an absolute layup.
Oh.
It's the worst booker of the year. Worst booker / promoter.
There's a reason why on all of the positive things we've talked about, we have not mentioned AEW a single time. Just saying. And all of the negative things that we talked about, we've mentioned AEW every time.
Yeah, I mean, if it was any other year, I'd be giving MJF a nomination because I gotta represent my Jews, but man.
Oh, God.
Christmas of all days.
Yeah. Dude.
Well, I think that we are going to unanimously.
Yeah.
And we'll take this moment because I think that for those of you who are not necessarily with, it's been a long time since we've done something like this. So why don't we just go around the room and explain why we have such a distaste for this man now at this point and what 2023 has done for us to cause this opinion? Because I'm guessing we've unanimously nominated Tony Khan for worst booker / promoter of the year.
Yes, but I do also want to give
Billy Corgan.
I do want to give like a nod to Billy Corgan for absolutely
nod to Billy Corgan.
Yeah, for absolutely fucking over the NWA with that stupid shit.
You get this little toilet bowl at the very top. That's Billy Corgan.
He's the runner-up. He's the unanimous runner-up.
Yes. But Tony Khan, I mean, by a country mile. And why don't we start with the man who hated it from the beginning?
Yes.
Skyler.
AKA, I was the smartest one.
Oh, apparently.
Let's not get big for our soil-caked britches.
You were the smartest one because you're a Jew.
Thank you. What were we supposed to say? What are we supposed to feel? This was all terrible. This was all lousy. This was all garbage. This was, from the beginning, doomed to fail because of who was in charge and what he wanted to do.
Yeah, and the thing is, and the biggest thing about this, and the reason why Tony, I believe, is getting this a second year in a row, and the reason Tony is getting this time for me, the biggest damage that Tony Khan did to himself was to lose the good faith of the viewership. The network asked for one thing for this new show. Do you remember what that one thing was that they wanted for Collision?
Did it happen?
No stupidity.
Did it happen to be Mr. CM Punk?
It was CM Punk.
Yeah, that guy. I vaguely remember that guy.
Wait a minute. In a network TV expiration year deal, that was a sentence.
Yep. It was an attempt at a sentence, but I know where you're going with it.
Yeah, but you're still with me.
Yeah.
In a year where they have their TV deal expire and they're going to renegotiate for that TV deal, that's way better. They decide to be children. Tony Khan decides to just do nothing, let a situation boil over, and then when it boils over the year prior, continue to do nothing, reward the people who caused it, and suspend the guy who actually had a really good lawsuit case against them. Decided, but he tried to make it work. Came back, they still decided to fuck with him, and Tony decided to be a gigantic pussy. There's no way around it. That's what it was. The Punk tried to lunge at me. I was never more afraid in my life.
I have never felt true fear before this day.
I know. It's I once thought I was a man until I met the Punketh. And anyway,
I have soiled me britches.
But the bottom line is this. Tony lost the goodwill of the fans and the network when all of that went down in September. And anyone who had any sort of benefit of the doubt they were trying to give to Tony Khan could do what many people were hoping he'd do and provide a legitimate alternative to WWE. Recognize now, this guy ain't it.
Nope.
And he never will.
And anyone that's still supporting him is delusional or stupid or both in thinking that he is still the right person to lead this company.
Yeah.
Even
I've heard a lot of people say that he just needs to give up some of his responsibility.
Even if you are
Which he's a control freak, he never will.
Even if you are a fan of AEW, you've got to admit, Tony needs to back off or go.
Yeah.
There is CM Punk is the empirical evidence.
Yeah, and I don't know if
And if you even look beyond the wrestling, if you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars and the way they're run, or the way that the football team in England is run, they're both incompetent, bothly run by Tony Khan too.
And look at the attendance and fan cam from AEW shows where there's just rows and rows and rows of empty chairs.
Shame. Yeah,
So empty, it looks like a San Jose Sharks game.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure
I
does.
hate that I'm roasting my own hockey team, but whatever.
Well, I mean, it's not that difficult to do, unfortunately.
First overall pick, baby. First overall pick.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and we'll continue for our first overall round exit. And
Tony Khan is our first overall round pick for the Grapplys for worst booker of the year.
Yeah, I mean, this is no dispute. It's no dispute.
Would now be a bad time to mention that I got AEW Fight Forever for Christmas?
Do tell.
I have AEW. I also got WWE 2K23, and I'll show it right now.
All right.
Are you gonna do a comparison video where you're gonna play the two games and compare them and see how bad the AEW game is compared to the WWE game?
I'm gonna do a video where me and my brother. I guess I'm just announcing this now on TAW. So be looking forward to this, TAW fans, all 1,003 of you. I'm going to be playing.
Which congrats to 1,000, by the way.
Why, thank you. Firm handshakes all around.
Yes, congratulations.
I'm going to do a video with my brother. We're going to do 3 matches of AEW Fight Forever and 3 matches of WWE 2K23, and I got the deluxe edition. You know, the golden one where Thugonomics Cena has the older and better-looking U.S. title. 3 matches of both games, and I'm going to be like, so Alex, which one do you like better? And he's probably going to say the WWE one. And there's also going to be a bunch of stupid edits that'll make you question your sanity and why I have 1,000 subscribers. What is wrong with 1,003 people? So be looking forward to that.
To be fair, my subscription is so I can listen to myself talk to my own voice.
Well, Skyler, all 3 of us are narcissists. It's okay.
I mean, everybody in the internet is a narcissist.
Basically.
I mean, that's just...
I also got an Attack on Titan video game, and I'm going to be playing that with Andy, so that'll be fun.
Just don't play with Tony Khan, because he'll take all your Monster Energy drink.
He better not lay a finger on my monsters. Seriously, I have a 12-pack.
Your Monster Energy drink. That's what he's going to do.
He'll put fentanyl in it because I criticize his company.
I just can't wait until the company finally starts going under and we can hear all the things that this company does under his watch.
There are a lot of NDAs signed for life, I believe.
What I can't wait is to hear the reaction from all of the tribalist AEW blowhards when that company dies.
They're all going to have to float back over to New Japan.
Yeah, what's the copium gonna be?
They were always Gunther fans.
No. I'll take your first suggestion. We actually just liked AEW because they had New Japan sometimes.
Yeah, they signed Will Ospreay thinking that was going to be the perfect counter to CM Punk.
Yeah, I mean,
they'll be like, listen, this was bigger than a wrestling company. This was about making WWE change for the better, and it finally did. So mission accomplished.
So we like WWE now. Yay! We were on this side the whole time.
Yeah, and you know who's going to be the first one to cross over?
Chris Jericho. No, he's not gonna slide. Well, he'll be the first to start.
He's gonna kick down the door in Titan Tower.
Yeah.
Like, I've been here the whole time.
Yeah,
I didn't
like,
say a damn thing on the internet. Don't even look.
don't listen to my podcast.
See, here's the thing, Sean, is that you keep saying that, but I legitimately don't think he's going to be the first one kicking down the door.
Well, he'll be the first one to start leaving the AEW building when they close, but because he's so fat, it'll take him forever to get there.
It will. It'll be hard to get a large transit, oversized load tractor trailer to haul him down the highway.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock Lesnar can drive it through the tractor.
No, he doesn't have a big enough tractor.
Oh, God.
Speaking of people, well, you know what? Maybe he could just bleed everywhere. And speaking of, we're going to go to the worst male wrestler of the year. I have already given away my answer.
We're all picking people from AEW.
I mean, you're picking Jon Moxley, right?
I am picking Jon Moxley because
give us your rationale.
Guy who's supposed to rival Chris Jericho as like the top star, right? And no matter what Tony Splicky does or does not do for a person, MJF's matches are still relatively decent because MJF has a overall vision in the ring that I am relatively satisfied with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Jon Moxley does literally the same thing every time, every match, flicks his head, thinks he's wrestling, and gets rewarded for it. And the match that I remember seeing him in this year was the match against Adam Page at Revolution.
A match that I attended in person.
God.
A match that you attended in person.
He took a brick to the head and got back up.
It was bad. Barf.
It was
I gave
boring.
it an F.
It was boring.
It was fucking terrible. And so, Jon Moxley, congratulations. You legitimately, well, you know, we don't know if you legitimately won it yet. But you've certainly been nominated here. Let's move on to JoshAgeddon. Who you got?
Dude, Jon Moxley's a good pick, but he's not my pick. Even though I'm grateful, partly, that he's the reason why CM Punk is back in WWE. Just the immense childishness, the pettiness, just the pure stupidity that he literally helped to build back up the bridge between WWE and CM Punk over a stupid spot. All of this was over a suplex on a car. Jack Perry is my pick for worst wrestler of the year. Just, his matches have been but that's not really what this is about. Just that moment where he lit in the camera and did that. Even though it was on the pre-show, the buy-in, because all these pre-shows have to have wacky names to cover up the fact that they're a pre-show that no one's watching. But still, that moment easily nets him worst of the year for me. Like, even though it's cool to see CM Punk back in WWE, and it really helps with WWE's momentum right now, and it sets up a lot of interesting shit in the future, he still is the reason why they lost their top draw. And there's no overstating how monumentally stupid he is. So
Those are all valid points.
Jack Perry is my pick.
That's why not all people should be wrestlers.
Yep. Looking at you, Liv Morgan and Shotzi.
We'll get to them.
We will get to them.
Funnily enough, we're not very high on Liv Morgan. Even though she is.
No, we're just high.
You are.
So, spoiler alert, the worst wrestler nomination for me comes from AEW.
I'm shocked.
And again, if I was to say this, I would say CM Punk and get the joke over, but I have another person that I want to nominate.
Okay.
This person I'm disappointed in is the best word I can say. Because in a company like AEW, he was the one thing that stood out. Because he had real motivations. He had real, legitimate matches. He had real, legitimate emotion. And he had real, legitimate motivations. This was a guy who came in, said, fuck you, bye, I win, I get money, I get championship gold. And then he started to be friends with Adam Cole and became part of the crowd that wants to be friends with everybody. And slowly but surely, everything that was unique about him was taken away from him. And I'm disappointed because this is a guy who should be one of the faces of wrestling because of how good he was at the beginning of this year and how he was set up to be one of the guys of the year. And it hurts because I have to nominate my Long Island Jewish friend here, and I have no faith in him anymore. Even if he goes to WWE, it will take a massive amount of fixing in order to get him back to where he was just a year ago. Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Who's gonna be with?
Wow.
It's gonna be with Punk.
No, it's not.
It's gonna be with Cody.
No, it's not.
Who's it gonna be with?
His first feud's gonna be with The Miz.
Oh!
You know it. You know it.
God. Can I change my pick?
No, hang on real quickly. While I have nominated Maxwell Jacob Friedman, he still does have good matches. This is more about his promos and storylines that he's involved with, which are garbage. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, the image at Wembley of the skewers sticking out of Jon Moxley's head clinches it for me.
I skipped that match. I did not watch that match. I have better things to do with my life.
Listen, Joshua. The picture of Moxley having all of these barbecue skewers sticking out of his head like a zit.
Oh, I saw that.
That is it. Like, there's nothing like that you can say or do. Again, I will get mad at the Young Bucks for the exploding super kick that they did to Moxley earlier this year.
That was the same match. No, it wasn't the same match. It was. They all bleed together.
Again, they all like to play with each other and do stupid shit. By the way, that's another reason why that the Young Bucks got nominated for the exploding super kick bullshit. And Moxley the dumbass for taking it.
Yes, John Moxtard.
Yeah.
And he's but you know, I feel you, Sky. It hurt me to hear you say that.
Yeah,
honestly.
me too a little bit.
Once I heard you going through it, I'm like, no, don't do this. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I like this guy. You're not wrong about any of it, but like, come on. It's like, I like hating Moxley and Jack Perry. I don't like hating the fact that MJF has been completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Because I like blaming Tony for that more than MJF, but he is complicit in this.
Can I tell you what made me not want to watch MJF anymore for me? When he was selling his broken frickin' neck because he got suplexed on the steel steps at Wembley, had a match with Samoa Joe on TV, and with his broken neck took a pile driver on the concrete and then got up and did wrestling moves. That's what killed MJF for me.
Again, he's not any different or any special from anybody else in AEW.
Yeah, that pissed me off so much. It was Dynamite Grand Slam.
I like it.
It was Dynamite Grand Slam, and that was like, he should be dead. A pile driver on the concrete with a bad neck? Are you kidding me?
Well,
again, fuck Tony Khan.
With anybody.
But real quick, I do want to say real quick, earlier in the year, I'm not gonna lie.
15 minutes at 300.
I'm not gonna lie. CM Punk at a point was my pick for worst wrestler of the year nominee. Not gonna lie. Because while I understand his frustrations with AEW and everyone backstage and all that, he still acted insanely unprofessionally.
and that really soured me on him. However, since he's back in WWE again, I'm willing to give him a second chance. And what he's been doing in WWE has been good so far, even though he's been back for a month.
And the thing is that I think MJF, when he goes to WWE, because they're going to offer him more money than God, when he goes to WWE, Triple H has the chance to remake him in his own image.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that he can do it. I mean, LA Knight has been remade, so could Maxwell.
Yeah.
Max, your nose is very relatable to me. I'd like to make something out of that.
You got some golden boogers, son.
The noster piece, Max Friedman.
Are golden boogers a Jewish thing? Anyway.
No.
Okay, we are moving right along.
So the pick for worst of the year is Jon Moxley.
Before this, by the way, I just realized we are breaking ground here because not only are we recording this for the Court Martial podcast to air, we are also recording this for the Totally Awesome podcast to air, and we're doing a live stream. So this is not a simulcast, it's a tribal cast.
It's the triple cast. I love the triple cast.
But congratulations to us, groundbreakers.
And congratulations to Jon Moxley for sucking at wrestling. You get this. You get the bad grapply, the badly.
That's right, you're getting the craply.
Yeah, that's right, the craply.
That's right, and now we're going to number 19, which is the regression session. So this is going to a wrestler, male or female, who has had potential and has slipped down the totem pole rather than gone up the totem pole. And it's for one reason or another. There's quite a few different nominations you can make for this, but somebody that you may be disappointed in. This is where I feel I might have put an MJF potentially, but I'm going to give you my nomination first for this. This one for me is somebody who everybody said was going to be the next Jesus Christ of the Bible. And I was like, there's no way that there's this much testament with this guy. But, he didn't even really get that many haters at first. He had himself a very good match at WrestleMania against the guy that, was it the most complicated match ever? No. But there was a time when people thought that it was the end of John Cena when this guy got it. And then John Cena exposed this guy in his promo, and then everything that John Cena said came to pass. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And now I don't give a flying fuck about Austin Theory anymore. And
you nor anyone else.
That is a shame. So I'm gonna go Austin Theory in the regression session here as a biggest downgrade. JoshAgeddon.
Honestly, I agree 100%. I also agree with what Skyler said about MJF earlier. But man, and I like Austin Theory, but he's just so unimportant. His regression has been sad. Really sad.
Yeah.
But my pick for regression, in all honesty, is someone that I complain about. Is this male or female, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It can be both.
I complain about her every time I see her. She used to have really good matches, and this trend really started last year. But it's gotten so much worse this year. She had one epic, amazing, excellent match this year. But everything else she's been in, she has been awful. Awful. And it might have a lot to do with the fact that she's kind of like how Darth Vader was more machine than man. She's more plastic than woman. Charlotte Flair has fallen off so bad. At least Austin Theory can work in the ring without looking like a complete and total doofus that gets tripped over by his own feet. Charlotte has gotten so bad in the ring. And that on top of the fact that she's so unlikable and everyone's sick and tired of her being a 500 million bajillion bazillion time champion.
everything on top of each other just makes it just more. Ugh. She's not my pick for worst female of the year. I have a different person in mind for that. But holy crap, has Charlotte regressed? She had one awesome match.
She would be a worthy candidate to be one of the worst females of the year. And she also is a candidate for one of the worst regressions because besides the match with Rhea Ripley, which at this point we can say was mostly Rhea Ripley, she's been awful all year.
Yeah,
she has.
Remember when it was just the moonsault that looked bad and just the natural selection that looks bad? What move does she do anymore that looks good? Like,
don't have an answer for you there.
And also, let's not gloss over the fact that she nearly caved in Io Sky's skull. Let's not gloss over that.
So we look at the fact that she got a knee injury as a blessing more than a curse.
I don't want to sit here and say I'm happy that someone got injured, but at a point, there's only one way or another to get someone the fuck off my TV. And if it happened, actually, my least favorite woman of the year, I wish this would happen to because I genuinely hate her. But I'm not gonna cry myself to sleep at night because it happened to Charlotte. I am so happy that we're not gonna have to deal with Charlotte being everywhere in the Rumble, and we're not gonna have Charlotte at WrestleMania. A WrestleMania with no Charlotte sounds amazing to me. I hate that her knee had to explode Tegan Knox style, but I'm gonna be happy with a WrestleMania that has nothing to do with her.
Well, that's a fair nomination.
I like real women, not them mannequins.
Gross. just gross. Anyway,
not as gross as Charlotte's face.
Regression. This is a tough one because there's a lot of people you can nominate. We could nominate MJF if we really wanted to because he's regressed.
Mm-hmm.
We could.
But for regression, I'm looking at guys who had potential and never quite reached it, or guys who were going somewhere and it kind of just stopped. And for me, it all comes back to just one name, and I feel difficult about this one because I don't know how I should feel about this. On the one hand, I see where they were going, but I also see that, okay, there's really nothing here. And it just kind of sucks because, there was a lot of promise at the beginning, and now it's just kind of well, we're waiting for it. Mm-hmm. I hate that. Here's the thing. I don't hate this nomination. I just am disappointed because, again, I was hoping for more. It's Adam Hangman Page.
He's done it to himself.
Well, to regress implies you progressed at some point.
He was a world champion for AEW, and now he's nothing. I know that partially that was beginning in 2022, but this year it just seems like it's gotten even worse.
Ever since he did that stupid, off-script promo deal with CM Punk that started the whole thing, he has been nothing.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a promo in wrestling that has done so much damage to everything around it? His career, the company he works for, causing the guy he cut the promo on to go back to their competition. Has there ever been a more damaging promo in wrestling? Aside from...
I would say Vince Russo after...
Uh-oh. Hello. Where did my boys go? Hi!
How are you doing?
You change your pants?
Yes. They're very spiffy. I lost Wi-Fi connection.
I'm proud of you. You should reattach it.
Oh, I have. What did I miss?
The worst.
Well, Austin Theory won the Regression Award.
Austin Theory won the Regression Award?
Yes, he won the Craply. And now we are continuing in the crap with the worst promo of the year, worst promos of the year. Worst talker.
Lord. Okay. Who goes first?
Well, why don't you go first since you're back now?
Okay, I will go first. There are a lot of people that like do really terrible promos, but I go back and forth between two people who I just listening to them talk is just so insufferable. It's hard for me to pick between Nia Jax and Shotzi. But the thing is, I usually skip Nia Jax promos. So I don't really get much on me because she just has no personality. However, before Survivor Series War Games, I unfortunately had to endure the worst promo I've ever heard.
So you've said.
Shotzi Badfart got on a microphone and was like, I'm a crazy girl. I'm so crazy. I can't wait for a carnage. It was so fucking bad. My anus has never tightened that hard in my life. Like, I lost years, decades, perhaps centuries from my life. I am a lump of ash that has been decomposing for eons now because of that promo. So with that said, I'm going with Shotzi because that one promo was so astronomically awful. The worst promo I've heard all year. Hands down, Shotzi. It was so bad.
Skyler.
Shotzi's a good nomination. Like, her promos are terrible, and she may win this thing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, is that as much as Shotzi's a bad talker, it's not the, oh my god, why do you even get the microphone talking that half of these AEW people get. And again, I'm going to go back to AEW because I need to kick this puppy down the road a little bit more.
That is the way Tony would frame it.
Yeah.
I need to kick this puppy for all it's worth.
Yeah.
I've said it before and I've said it again. This man used to talk really, really good, and now I don't want to listen to him. It's one half of the Golden Jets. The man who is yelling at Stephen P. New on Christmas Eve. On Christmas, actually, he yelled at Stephen P. New at 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, you have way too much time on your hands. Why don't you go get abducted by the aliens again, Chris Jericho?
That's it.
I was wondering how long it was going to be before Chris Jericho waddled into the Grapplys. So
yeah. That's a good pick.
Have you heard any of his promos this year?
Not gonna lie, I haven't, because I've watched. This is the least of AEW I've watched.
We know better. We so know better.
Anything that he does, like that whole segment where the Inner Circle broke up on Chris Jericho, may be the worst segment ever.
You mean
and it was totally a Chris Jericho thing.
Chris Jericho's stranglehold on AEW is a big reason why it's in the shape it's in.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the wake of CM Punk.
Wasn't that whole deal where he was trying to recruit... There was also that whole deal where he was trying to recruit... Don Callis was trying to recruit Jericho into the Callis family. And Jericho was like, you're going to betray me. And Don Callis was like, actually, I was totally serious. But because you thought I was going to betray you, I'm going to betray you. And Jericho's like, oh no, you're betraying me. Just stupid shit like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate that I remember that.
Yeah, it's... Jericho could probably go in line with worst booker of the year, but he hasn't really ever been confirmed to be doing it beyond his deal. But I would have to say I am inclined to agree with JoshAgeddon with when Shotzi's name. This was kind of the one that I didn't really know because I haven't really heard a ton of bad promos. Not that I've heard.
Well, then, can I steal your nomination and nominate one for myself again?
it's like I'm. Do you have another bad name?
Yeet.
Is that really Jey Uso's fault, though?
Yes.
I don't know if that's Jey Uso's fault, though.
I mean, Joshua would agree with me.
Well, I'm not gonna blame that on that. I don't consider that as much a promo as like a catchphrase. And that's
we should have worst and best catchphrase of the year.
Sure. Then Yeet is worst catchphrase hands down, but
Sure.
Jey Uso is on promos. He's fine. A little too much shouting for my taste, but he's fine.
But again, like, here's the thing. I know that Shotzi Blackheart had a bad promo, but she also hasn't been around for the entire year. She's only really been around for the last 2 or 3 months. Jericho is still there all the time, talking all the time about stuff that only Chris Jericho cares about, because no one cares about Chris Jericho in 2023.
Chris Jericho cares about Chris Jericho in 2023.
Well, fuck him.
That's a fact. I just haven't heard any of his stuff because I know better. I'm sure you're right, Sky. I'm sure you're right. You know what I'm going to nominate? And it's somebody that I know one person in this little triad that we have here is going to disagree with me because this person tickles him at night with his little dingo baby. But I'm going to say Grayson Waller here.
I'm not going to disagree with you because I'm so sick and tired of the Grayson Waller effect segment. Well, I understand why they did that with him early on because he had an injury and couldn't wrestle. But once he got better, they should have dialed down on that.
Yeah, because you want to talk about a less famous Miz.
Yeah.
That is a less famous Miz. I also, at least with Miz, the more that he got into it, the more he really did his damnedest to try to convince you he believed it. Mm-hmm. I don't get that at all from Grayson Waller. I maybe it's a passion level difference. I don't know exactly, but like it just drips of insincerity, and it just doesn't do it for me. And it's a segment that is used pretty frequently that I'm always skipping when I see it.
Yeah, I like him as an all-around guy, but the Grayson Waller effect is just annoying at this point. And wrestling talk shows at this point, I'm sorry, I hate that whole deal at this point. It's boring. Just get in the ring and do a promo. You don't need to have plants or a big LED. Remember when I went to SmackDown earlier this year, and they were doing the pre-recorded SmackDown, and they screwed up his intro 3 times, and he was sitting in the ring with the lights off waiting for them to do it right, and the crowd was laughing by the time they did it right. And that's the part that aired on television. Stop it with the live action interview, like the highlight reel or the Kevin Owens show or these talk show things. They need to end, like Miz TV.
Yeah, it's overdone.
Stop.
It's so overdone. And so I'm sure that Chris Jericho is here as far as a consistent shit-out.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm going to concede one way or another, I'm going to concede to the Grayson Waller effect simply because they've been doing it on pay-per-views. They've been doing a talk show on pay-per-views for no real good reason.
Yeah.
Like, this wouldn't be much of an issue if it's on Raw and SmackDown because then you and me, Sean, we could skip it. But it's almost every pay-per-view this guy gets a segment for no real reason. Yes, it's to get people to get mad at him, so when a babyface kicks him in the face or whatever, it, gets a pop. But in order for that to happen, you have to get over. As much as we all hate The Miz, at least he got over before he started getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, and Miz always had some inherent level of promo ability. It may not have always materialized based on the feud he was in or the shape physically he was in at that time or that stupid ass mohawk that he had for the longest time. And, you know, in spite of all of that, Miz had some core talent that they were able to chisel and cultivate. And I don't think there's something about Grayson Waller that just doesn't convince me that he's ever going to reach that level.
And again, like, as much as I have insulted Chris Jericho, he's been doing this for a couple years, so it's not like it's anything new. It's been a whole year of Grayson Waller just talking and talking and talking and no action. From Money in the Bank when he debuted with John Cena, and the crowd could not give two shits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because John Cena was a surprise in and of itself, and then this guy comes out and is like, "Hello, I'm Grayson Waller. I'm a big old."
Talk about they really threw cold water on that shit, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Well, because that was where John Cena did a lot of exposing people this year.
Yeah, he did.
And now they're teaming together.
Yeah, getting punched once simultaneously by Kevin Owens.
We are the two men who have seen John Cena and exposed us. He exposed us to all sorts of nefariousness. So Grayson Waller, is that what we're going for here?
I like the dude, but the Waller effect has got to go.
All right, so Grayson Waller, congratulations! You've earned this.
Sean, you were gonna say something about Shotzi earlier. Did you happen to see that promo I mentioned by any chance?
Well, I saw as much as I could stomach, and it's like, when you start out, I'm with you, but once you get to like a second and a half, I gotta get the fuck out of there.
The overacting was so just. It was like a bad middle school play.
Yeah.
It just.
You sound like a man who's been inside some of those bad middle school plays.
Dude, when I was in middle school, me and my mom went to a middle school play. It was about Greek mythology. Everyone there they had to stop the play so many times because everyone kept forgetting their lines. And the director.
Why does that sound like AEW?
Because, Vikingo was not involved, but he should have been. It's more his speed. But seriously, they had to stop the play multiple times because none of the kids knew their lines. And the drama director, her face turned red. She was so pissed. And me and my mom left, and we were like, that was fucking awful, wasn't it? It was bad.
Yeah.
Shotzi would have fit right in.
That's rough. Well, we're going to continue in this line of Grapplys.
Oh, no.
As we have moved on to the worst match of the year.
There has been some stoinkers this year.
There have been some clunkers. I'm going to make the pitch for one. There's two that I could nominate, but I'm going to nominate a less common one. And I will have another one in the wings for potential nomination. But my first nomination.
Okay.
And primary nomination is for as far as this man has come. As far as this man has come, he cannot wipe the stain of what happened at the Rumble off of his glow sticky hands. It was not his fault, but Christ on a cracker, this was not good. You could put the Holy Sacrament on the Ritz, and it will not bounce up and down like the Chips Ahoy commercial. Instead, it'll just be puppets and laughter and ghosts and Uncle How die and everyone wanted to die and it just wasn't a good time at all. My worst match of the year goes to the man who has recovered the most from a match with Bray Wyatt entirely. It is Bray versus LA Knight at the Royal Rumble in the Mountain Dew Neon Glow Stick match of doom.
That was going to be my pick because, oh my God, that was utterly... You know me and Bray Wyatt's super spooky matches, specifically the ones with one Randall Keith Orton, We do not have a good history. This was more of that. And it was more...
Let's keep trying and trying and trying and trying with that, by the way, while we're talking about it. Like 8 years.
How many times do you have to diarrhea down my throat before I just finally drown and die? I wanted to drown and die. That it was a house of horrors indeed. That match was and it was in January as well, the Rumble.
Yep.
I hated the Jon Moxley at Hangman Adam Page match specifically because he took a brick to the fucking head and got up. And
yes,
I
remember that.
I hated the Samoa Joe MJF match because he took a pile driver to the concrete with a bad neck and got up and won. But there was nothing as bad as that pitch black match. Oh my, that was so awful.
Yeah, that was next level bad.
Like, R.I.P. Bray Wyatt, but it sucks that his only match this year was the absolute worst. That embarrassment.
Yeah, definitely.
Sky? So, here's the thing, is that there are a lot of ways that I can go with this again, as far as, like, do I want to nominate the Pitch Black match, which at the time when I said it was going to be the worst match of the year, and I was not wrong. And I feel like that's going to be the match of the year. But there's a match that I'm going to nominate for a very different reason, but one that's still, I think, valuable. Here's the thing about AEW. I've always been terrible.
We are nothing if not consistent.
Oh, Skyler, goddamn, that was funny.
Whatever. The point is that all their women's matches are terrible again, and whatever. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm going to beat this horse into the ground.
Yeah.
But, like, it's something when they book a match a certain way to accomplish something that in all good conscience and all good faith should never have happened. I'm going to go to Wembley. And there's a 4-way match involving Saraya, Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, and Toni Storm. In good conscience and in good faith, somebody should never have allowed Saraya to continue to wrestle. And they have allowed her to continue to wrestle and to get the moment where she wins the title in Wembley in front of her hometown crowd. And the reason why I'm shitting on this match specifically is because they did a transitional title reign where she lost the belt a couple weeks later.
To Tony.
And here's...
No, she lost it back to Hikaru Shida, and then Shida lost it to Tony because they were hot potatoing it. Because that always makes the title... That always makes the belt more valuable.
Hikaru Shida won it, Saraya won it, and then Hikaru Shida won it back.
Right.
Here's my thing, too, about this, okay? Saraya's wrestling, because I've actually seen some of it. I was there in person when I watched it. Has been terrible all year. She doesn't look like the Paige from 10 years ago. And actually, when I'm thinking about it, Paige or Saraya, whatever, doesn't look healthy. Shouldn't be in the ring. Shouldn't be allowed to be in the ring. And they did it for a cheap pop in London that you know is going to be the same pop that happens when she wins the title again next year at Wembley.
Maybe.
Yeah, I can't.
Just like the same one where Ric Flair beats Orange Cassidy in Charlotte.
Oh, God.
That could actually happen.
Did we do Worst Woman of the Year yet?
Not yet.
We did not get there yet.
Because I'm going to give you a spoiler right now. She's going to be my nomination.
I don't blame you.
I do not blame you either. I will. We'll say this though, because I have one more match to put on this list, and it's not the one that you're expecting. Now, this is a tag match that occurred at Money in the Bank, and
I know exactly what match you're talking about.
Why this tag match was made, I do not know. They are desperate to try and make any sort of women's tag team wrestling matter. It doesn't. It was Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez Rodriguez, Diego
Monsanto.
Against Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, where Shayna just turned on Ronda for like no reason.
For no reason. I'm glad I skipped that match.
Okay, listen. Can I explain the reasoning for you, okay?
For why that particular tag match sucked ass?
No, not for why the match sucked ass, for why it happened.
Sure, go for it.
The match was booked the way it was so that Ronda Rousey, who was leaving, could have her one-on-one match with Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam that Joshua did not see and Sean loves because it's his favorite match and will be his match of the year contender, whatever.
I did not say that. I already nominated it for my WTF moment.
I mean, you love that match. As bad as it is, you love it.
I find it quite entertaining, yes.
If we had a so bad it's good category, that would be the winner.
If we had
But the thing is that they needed a babyface team to take the titles, and they didn't have one ready. So they just screwed together Liv Morgan and Raquel because they used to team together in the past, and that's the reason why it was booked. Having said that, that match was terrible because you had 3 people who are not good wrestlers, and Shayna Baszler is not a wizard that could carry 3 other bad women to a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler could probably have carried 1 bad person. She couldn't carry 3.
Well, and Ronda is just like, she did not give a single shit about anything she was doing in this match. It was bad. It was a 5-finger stinker. And normally I'm really good. One of my big credits this year to myself has been the ability to dodge these matches whenever I've watched pay-per-views. I found a way to evade them. Not that one. That one was rough.
Need I remind you that no one in WWE has more pinfall victories over Ronda freaking Rousey than Liv Morgan.
3 times. 3 whole times.
What fucking timeline do we live in where that's even remotely fucking possible?
Triple H's.
No.
It makes me miss Alexa Bliss, because at least she could work.
God,
But
why?
In any case, so for worst match of the year, I do believe though, at the end of the day, that Bray Wyatt and LA Knight is the winner of this one.
I ain't budging on that one. That was the worst shit I've had to sit through.
I really do think that one is the one that takes the cake on this. Even though the rest of those matches all have good qualities of earning a Grapplys. I think that Bray wins 1 final title before riding off into the sunset. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And now LA Knight has won 2 tonight.
Yay!
She's got 1 of each. That might be the first time that's happened, where somebody's won a Grapply and a Grappley on the same night.
I mean, again, it just shows how big his year has been and how much has changed from being in the worst match of the year to being one of the biggest stars of the year.
Right. All right. We are now at the feud of the year. Let's get in some positivity.
Oh, that's a tough one.
So, the feud of the year that I have is Rey and Dominic Mysterio.
That's a good one.
Its culmination, the way it was laid out, the payoff was exactly what it needed to be, and then they've been able to kind of branch off and do their own things. One of them successful, the other one Santos Escobar. But they've been able to stay apart, but they accomplished everything they needed to, and have benefited in the long term from that feud in the way that some other people in other feuds that I would have nominated did not get the chance to. Joshua.
Honestly, the one that I'm going to nominate I'm nominating because it had the highest highs of the year early on in the year, but it really petered off, especially at SummerSlam. I guess it's more a feud than more a storyline than a feud, but it still counts for me because there are multiple. The Bloodline for me, like the first half of 2023. the Bloodline was the best thing in wrestling. Like Sami Zayn, when Sami Zayn and Kevin were involved, although after WrestleMania it kind of petered. Although they did have that main event at Night of Champions in Saudi. There wasn't really that many like long-term feud. Again, I said this earlier. There was a lot of mid stuff and a lot of quick stuff. There wasn't really like long-term stuff other than the Bloodline thing, which I hate that I'm nominating it because it did have the highest highs, but it's really petered off, especially with the second.
Well, here's the thing. I would take that nomination and cut it off specifically with Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Because if you look besides Cody, because Cody was a different thing, the most compelling part of the Bloodline for a year and a half, basically, was everything involving Sami Zayn. From him becoming a flunky, to becoming a full-time member, to him working with the Bloodline, him betraying the Bloodline, him working with Kevin Owens, and the high of the Tag Team Championship match on the first night of WrestleMania, along with the final kind of like send-off for Sami and Kevin, beating Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa in Night of Champions. But everything was because of Sami Zayn. Like, that match at Elimination Chamber in Montreal is still, like, one of the most amazing matches I've seen. The moment where he hit Roman Reigns with a chair at Royal Rumble gave us all goosebumps and was so loud in person that it broke the audio of the cameras.
Yes, that was so insane. Like,
and again, there were other people coming in and out of the storyline, which is fine. But if we want to like cut it off, specifically Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline, because that was the best part of it.
Yep. That I'm glad you helped me with that, Skyler. That is my nomination: Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline.
And with that, it goes to me. And it's amazing I'm going to nominate a feud where one of the guys didn't win a single match in it. But god damn it, they were so compelling nonetheless. Wait, hold on. Okay, hang on. Did Brock Lesnar beat Cody Rhodes in the second match?
Yes, he did. He
did.
He had him in the Kimura for 3 days, and Cody finally passed out.
Okay, fine. Okay. But anyways, the point is that the match between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, Cody needed something to do after Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar was perfect for that. And the payoff with Brock Lesnar shaking Cody's hand was great at SummerSlam. If only Kevin Dunn turned off the music.
Yeah.
But, like, they gave us a proper 3-match feud over 4 or 5 months, which WWE almost never does. Or at least is starting to do again.
Yeah, and it feels nice to know that they are starting to provide for some of these things again. You know, and I think that the fact that we have 3 separate but also valid WWE storylines that we can say were quality feuds of the year, that's something to be celebrated.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually think that I'm inclined to kind of push it more in the Bloodlines direction, even though it jumped the shark at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like, I mean, a 6-month feud run is pretty good, let alone a year and a half, let alone 3 years or however long this thing has been going on.
Honestly, I'll argue that they jumped the shark by not having Roman lose to Cody. That was my jumping the shark moment.
Yes, I think that we've all unanimously agreed on that. That was the shot, and they whiffed the shot. But that doesn't mean they haven't succeeded in other areas.
We've talked about how many dumb things AEW has done all year, and we could honestly be here for another year talking about all the stupid things they've done this year.
And we should speed it up.
Yeah. I will say, them not putting the belt on Cody might be the dumbest thing WWE did all year.
Yeah.
And hopefully they will rectify the mistake. But again,
I have no faith.
I mean, we have to hope. But if we're going to specifically mention the best part of the feud, it needs to be the Sami Zayn. Again, I was sitting there watching Sami Zayn and the contemplative look he had on his face as Roman Reigns is yelling at him before he was part of the Bloodline. He was doing jackass shit. And he was. Last year, Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 38 was dead to Shawn.
Yeah.
And then he became the most compelling wrestler. It was almost like Shawn, I'm never going to watch you again. I don't care what you do. And Sami Zayn took that personally.
Yeah. It wasn't so much a he's dead to me. It's a I want to kill him. Then he will be dead to everyone.
Yeah, I was pretty pissed that night.
So again, the whole thing of that, like, had Sami Zayn, was he a nominee for Wrestler of the Year last year?
I think he had gotten a nod, but I don't think that he actually won it. But
right. And again, like, if Sami Zayn had succeeded higher than what he got, he could have been a Wrestler of the Year. But again, that's how stacked male Wrestler of the Year was in WWE.
Is he injured right now?
He's currently away with family stuff, and that's perfectly understandable.
Okay, I understand.
But overall, like, that night when the crowd popped for him hitting Roman with a chair, the moments in Montreal where the crowd were chanting his name, the fact that a tag team title match was the main event of a night of WrestleMania.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Again, I think you have to give it to Sami Zayn for single-handedly turning around the Bloodline storyline and giving it life when it didn't need it.
Yeah, well, definitely. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
As much as I like the other feuds that are involved, I'm voting for Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to agree with that as well. Which means we're back to Grapplys.
Oh, no.
And we are going to go to the worst women. And the worst
Saraya.
Wow, someone from AEW, I hear?
Saraya.
That case is definitely made. I refuse to watch any of her matches. I did that when they hired her because I am not going to watch that woman kill herself on television. That was my rule, so I'm going to plead ignorance on this one.
I'll take the XPs.
But I will say, I am going to vote for Shotzi Blackheart on this one because there is nothing I've seen of hers that is any good in any capacity. And for some reason, they still keep her around. And they make her look weirder and weirder and weirder with absolutely zero payoff. They will not learn the lesson that screaming is not a gimmick.
Yeah.
But I'm going Shotzi Blackheart myself. JoshAgeddon, while I go yell about how crazy I am over on a frame, why don't you tell them who your nomination is?
Shotzi Badfart is definitely up there. She's one of the worst. But there was a return this year that made me so fucking angry. And it still makes me fucking angry. Because you know what I really, really hate? Something that just pisses me off when it's blindly obvious to everyone except the people that are involved with it that it sucks. Nepotism. I fucking hate nepotism. I hate nepo babies. Or in this case, nepo cousins.
What about the long-lost descendant of the pro wrestler Nepo Man?
Shut the fuck up. The fact I like Triple H, and he's probably going to get nominated as Booker of the Year. The worst thing that he did this year that I do not understand, Nia Jax. Why in God's name did you bring this talentless piece of putrid fucking human vomit back?
Because she's not like most girls.
Shut the fuck up. No. Like, I cannot put into words how much I hate Nia Jax. She was, if Nia Jax got injured, I would throw a fucking party. Like,
you've been putting a good job of putting it into words right now, my friend.
I did not like that Charlotte got injured, although I'm not gonna miss her. Because, like, I don't like Charlotte, but I don't hate her so much that I want her to be injured. It's just fortunate that I don't have to see much of her, especially, like, through Mania. I would love it if Nia Jax blew out both of her fucking knees. Like...
Well, she nearly killed Rhea or whoever.
That's one... on her first night back!
Yep. Yeah.
Why?
That does make me want to lean towards Nia, but...
Do you remember...
consistently enough for that.
Do you remember... last year at the Grapplys, the 2022 Grapplys, when our point against Nia was when she was fired, the division rejoiced.
Yeah.
She returned, and the division cried.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
But she's not like most girls.
Shut the fuck up.
Well, it's a tough choice between Shotzi, Saraya, and Nia Jax. Who
It's
gets
not.
the nod?
It's not. Listen, as much as I hate Saraya, it's more about who is allowing her to wrestle rather than her wrestling itself, although it's not good.
Yeah.
But again, I don't watch AEW, so I don't have to watch her matches. Nia Jax is just a step back.
Yes.
Nia Jax is a safety issue.
Yes. When we watch Saraya or don't watch, when we know that she's existing, we're worried about her. When Nia Jax is existing, we're worried about who's around her. Fuck her. We're worried about the people around her. And that, in my opinion, is worse.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Nepotism sucks.
We have now reached the best talker of the year.
Okay, so Nia Jax wins the Grapplys. I approve of that. Best talker.
Well, let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you.
That's my pick.
It's a good pick.
Because he makes whatever WWE gives him, makes it into his own, and he's gotten away with saying a lot of really risque shit because he's just so good at delivering it that they don't even mind. So the freedom that they've given LA Knight to just be LA Knight, what a gift of gab this guy has. Although, I will also give you probably one of you will name him, but if he doesn't, I'll give him a nod as well.
Okay.
But yeah, LA Knight in my book, he's making whatever they give him and turning it into beautiful chicken salad with a little bit of something on top.
Yeah. Should LA Knight win this award?
Yeah.
I'm feeling Question
Nah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Because again, tell me when CM Punk is telling lies.
Yeah. Okay. He was my nod.
Yeah.
Tell me when CM Punk is telling lies.
He's really damn good at it.
I'm just happy that I got LA Knight not in there.
Yeah, me too. That was good. That was good. I like that.
I just need to lead you on for a little bit, but yeah, CM Punk is a great promo.
Yeah.
What a shocker.
I know. You hate AEW every chance you get, and you put over CM Punk as much as you get.
I bet you listen to Jim Cornette.
Yeah, you fucking mark. You WWE mark. But my pick is neither LA Knight nor CM Punk. My pick is someone who I find myself rewinding certain lines in his delivery, like his cadence. I love listening to this dude talk. He's said some dumb shit in the past, but he has made me interested in things that I didn't find interesting at first. And I was really enthralled by a lot of the stuff that he did earlier in the year, especially going into WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is my pick for promo of the year. I love listening to this dude talk.
It's a good pick.
And I feel like in AEW, he had his moments, but he also went a little overboard to the point where he was the most hated man in the company.
Yeah, he's definitely got a cap to that meter now.
But WWE is the perfect fit for what he is now. They know exactly when to rein him in. They know exactly when to let him go all out. And when he is within those constraints, I love listening to Cody Rhodes talk. He can sell me a phone book.
Well, let me talk to you real quickly. Because there's nobody hotter than LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation here because all three of them have used their promo abilities to maintain or gain relevancy very strongly this year. CM Punk...
But here's the thing, though, Sean. This is all great, but, CM Punk has not been around for the entire year, so I don't think I can give it to him despite me nominating him. Yeah. And as much as I love listening to Cody, he still does the Cody things, which are a little annoying. To me, it's LA Knight with the freshness of it.
You don't like...
The ability to change it up with anybody.
You don't like words with a lot of syllables?
Well, see, here's the thing. I would almost concede Rhodes, and the reason why I would put
You know I
Cody
do it.
over is that Cody could have very easily, after losing to Roman Reigns, have just fallen into irrelevancy or into a mid-card feud, and his promos not have mattered. But it's because he is able to talk as well as he is, and plus he was given feuds that allowed him to interact with people that were at his level. It allowed him to really continue to build himself.
And not only that, Brock was not there a lot of the time when he was feuding with Brock.
Well,
he carried that.
Really relied on Cody to do that. Like LA Knight, I love LA Knight, but he is also very much, he does the deal. He does LA Knight's deal, and people love to come to see LA Knight. They love to see the LA Knight. Let me talk to you. Yeah, all of that. They love that interaction. Cody Rhodes is a lot more organic. Like, I don't want to say organic, but it's like, it's not just the aura and the delivery of the promo where the fans just want to react to it. People are listening to Cody Rhodes.
Man's a storyteller.
Like, yeah, they're listening to Cody Rhodes, and they're really he's really keeping them involved in what his personal goals are and what he's trying to accomplish, and at the same time being able to use that in a meaningful way towards a long-term end, given the feuds that he's been with. And where LA Knight, you can kind of plug in that LA Knight thing into any situation. It's a tough call. I would almost give it to all three of these guys. If we're going to do a three-way tie, because then, you look at CM Punk, and people hang on to every goddamn word. Even when his promo was generic, people held on to every goddamn
I was about to
word.
say, even when they gave him 7 minutes at the end of Raw.
Yeah, I mean, and then of course he got the top of the 9 o'clock hour, and the first thing he said was, "Well, they gave me the top of the 9 o'clock hour."
Yeah.
He just knows how to hit that demographic. And with all of the drama that's going on this year, what has really tuned people in, literally, you can see it in the numbers, in the amount of numbers that there were. People tuned in to hear CM Punk talk. You can tell statistically that this has occurred. So CM Punk, you got to give him by the numbers, is drawing people into the building. And I don't know, guys. This feels like all three of these guys deserve it.
Well, I do love threesomes, so let's give them the threesome.
And we'll agree this is the only three-way tie we will do in this whole evening process.
All right.
We'll actually whittle it down. But all three of these guys deserve it for being the hottest commodities all now in WWE, because Tony Khan already won the Grapplys this year.
Here.
Does that mean they have to wear the belt at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know what? They can each take one of the logos with them, the CMP stickers, because they are detachable.
Get your free CMP stickers if you subscribe today.
Product not sold separately.
Product not yet rated.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Now, this show, results may vary. This show has not been approved by the Food and Drug Administration. But this show is the best show. It is the Grapplys for the show of the year. I kind of get the feeling we're all going to have the same answer on this one.
I feel that way
There really is one answer for me, because I did not watch AEW, and I knew that none of those shows were going to be in the running anyway.
You are correct. As someone who watched their shows, you are correct.
I have not felt like a child watching wrestling in as far as the captivation level from start to finish in a very long time. But WrestleMania 39 Night 1 did just that. It was a terrific show top to bottom. Even the bad matches were okay matches. Everything had a purpose. Everything had a story. And then you get the perfect payoff at the end of it. Even though that match aired on the side of gratuitous, it was just an unbelievable effort by all involved, especially because WrestleMania 39 Night 2 was going to be more Vince-ish than WrestleMania 39 Night 1 was, but it was a terrific show top to bottom. One of the best shows I have had the chance to see as it occurred. And JoshAgeddon, your pick.
I wholeheartedly second that because even though I gave Survivor Series a 9 out of 10, that was more because it was a 7 out of 10 show and then the ending bumped it up by a lot. WrestleMania 39 Night 1 was a 9 out of 10 show. And if CM Punk returned on that night, it would have been an 11 out of 10 show. But there were multiple match of the year candidates on that show.
Yeah.
And that's how you know. It wasn't just one, there was 4.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen very often.
No.
And again, even the stuff on that show that wasn't that great was still good, and nothing on it was awful. And it was just top to bottom the best wrestling show of the year. And nothing AEW did, has ever done, or ever will do will ever come close to that.
Nowhere near it.
No.
Skyler?
There's nothing that needs to be talked about. It's WrestleMania Night 1. When you have 4 match of the years on that show, you can't compare it to any other.
Mm-hmm. And that was the first time that we saw the stage for that. That's the best WrestleMania stage and setup that they've had in a long-ass time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. All right, well, as Jim Cornette would say, from the penthouse to the outhouse.
Oh, no.
It's time for the worst show of the year. And
Can I go first?
We know it's an AEW show.
Gee, how'd you guess?
because your name is Skyler Greenberg.
I have to go with the show that I attended in person. It was Revolution.
That you paid an absurd amount of money for a block of cheese with some pepperoni glued to the top of it.
And paid $55 for parking.
Those were made for suction cups.
Don't
lie to the people.
Even though there were worse shows in AEW, the fact that I was there with their fans at a time when the company was hot, quote unquote.
Quote. Several quotes.
The damage had already been done because the first fight had already happened.
Yeah.
The damage had already been done. The ship had already hit the iceberg that had pre-assembled in the course that it was running. And the high point was 6 months before that fight. But yeah, I could see that. There's been nothing about 2023 that has been in the upward trajectory, except maybe Tony Khan's boner and the reflection in the mirror. But in any case, we finally, the next piece of this that we are...
Well, hold on. I haven't had my vote for worst show of the year.
Yes, well, yeah, I was going to give you mine, but go for it.
Oh, you were going to give you yours? Oh. You go first.
Yeah, no. Well, this one, no, it's okay. I'll just air it on the app.
On the CW app?
Yeah.
When your first show is your last show, that's when you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that is going to be a Heroes of Wrestling. I will bet you that NWA Solstein, son of a bitchness, or whatever it's called, and the NWA Sam Heil goes down in history. It will be a Dark Side of the Ring episode. We will hear just what happened at this event and how the NWA fell from grace so badly to this point.
They fell from grace so quickly. They got a TV deal, and days later, they fucked themselves in the ass with cocaine.
Literally. How do you do that? How do you do that? At least Tony Khan has been gradually fucking up.
Yeah.
Consistently, but gradually. This was just an all at once, kind of like cocaine itself.
Yeah.
It's a very, very rapid high and a very, very, very rapid
That was the funniest shit that happened That was the funniest shit that happened all year.
I would say that takes the cake as the worst show of the year. I don't even know what the card was.
Neither do I. Neither does anyone. I don't think.
No, it was a 15-match card.
Oh!
That 4 matches were on the pre-show.
Yeah, I'm good. Give me the cocaine.
Somebody save Camille.
Somebody save Camille.
Well, she has to go to WWE at some point.
I hope so.
Well, I didn't watch that show. I don't even know what the name of that show fucking was. I'm not picking... Sam Hyman. I didn't see Sam and Hyman. Not gonna lie. What a strange name for a pay-per-view. But, I did see Revolution. That is not my pick for worst pay-per-view of the year. I also saw Double or Nothing this year. And it wasn't awful. There were some good things, like the Fatal 4-Way match between the pillars of AEW, MJF, Jackass Perry, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin. That was the one really, really good thing on that show. Everything else was missable.
Oh, man.
Everything on that show was either missable or awful. Because it had that awful Adam Cole, Chris Jericho unsanctioned match. It had Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter in the worst women's match of the year by far, where Jamie Hayter missed her Rainmaker, and Toni Storm gently nudged her, and Jamie went flying into the exposed turnbuckle, piledriver 1, 2, 3. And it ended with the Blackpool Combat Club versus people. That was the exploding superkick match, I believe, which I skipped. After the Fatal 4-Way, I was done. I was like, that's the main event. The next match is fucking stupid, and they have one every pay-per-view. I'm not watching it. I did miss the exploding superkick. So that's my pick for worst show of the year, but the anguish I could hear from Skyler kind of nudges me in AEW Revolution's direction. I would nudge in Sean's direction, but I didn't even see that show. The NWA Shak'em and Yak'em show. So I'm giving the nod to AEW Revolution, although I will say a Double or Nothing was bad as well.
They had worse shows, and if I had attended those shows, I probably would nominate them too.
Yeah.
But it's just something sitting there with the fans, listening to them chant for a product that they don't really like, but want to like, but don't really like.
Well, plus that Adam Page Moxie match was god awful.
I remember when someone hit me in the brick with a head, and I was hitting them with a pile driver 0.5 seconds later.
I remember when somebody was hitting me in the brick with a head.
And then he pile drivered me in the brick with a head. God
I hate
damn.
when somebody takes a brick I have and just hits my head with
the brick driver.
Yeah. Anyway, so we will say Revolution 2023 because we watched it for Skyler and endured that pain. Mm-hmm. I would also say, because we've already talked about the show of the year, I will mention that AEW's best show of the year was probably Forbidden Door.
That was a good show. I mean,
there was a lot of nonsense on it.
Yeah.
But there were some good matches as well.
I will say also, All In,
but they were not bad.
All In was good, All Out was good, and Wrestle Dream was surprisingly good, even though Wrestle Dream is a stupid name for a pay-per-view. Not as bad as Yama, but still a pretty dumb name for a pay-per-view.
Alright, well, good job, AEW. You win another Grapplys. What are you going to do with all these?
How many more do we have left?
So next up, we have Match of the Year.
But worst or best?
Best match of the year.
We've already done worst match of the year.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt.
And now it's time for the best. Skyler, why don't you start this one?
There are, again, a lot of nominees, and most of them are going to come from WrestleMania Night 1.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think we can limit it just to one nomination per person. So let's just talk about the matches that we've had this year, because there were so many good ones.
Yeah.
Because again, Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio. Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. The tag match between Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and the Usos. All those matches could be nominated for Match of the Year.
Most of them.
The Cody and Brock match from SummerSlam. Even though Cody really should have been disqualified for hitting Brock Lesnar with steel steps.
Yeah.
But because he's white, it's okay.
If he was a Jew like MJF, that would have been immediately just no. Absolutely not.
Steps aren't kosher, JoshAgeddon.
Yeah, absolutely. How many steel steps do you see during Hanukkah? 0. Exactly.
None. Anyway.
What are some other matches that you guys like? I mean, we could nominate the men's Royal Rumble.
There were like everything you said, Skyler. My favorite WrestleMania match was the Triple Threat Intercontinental Title match. I love that match. I loved the men's Royal Rumble. I loved Cody versus Roman until the finish. I loved the men's War Games this year. I really liked Gunther and Drew at SummerSlam. Basically any Gunther match this year, basically. But I'm going to do something a little unexpected since we've done nothing but shit on AEW, deservedly so, this stream. There are 2 matches AEW had, well, actually, I guess 3 matches AEW had this year that I want to give a little bit of props to. Actually, and 1 New Japan match. So, actually, 4 AEW matches, 1 New Japan. Okay. I don't know how math works. I'm tired. Leave me alone. It's Christmas. I'm allowed to be stupid. I really liked both of the Kenny Omega Will Ospreay matches, although I think the Wrestle Kingdom one was better because the second one was a little bit goofier. Like, they kicked Don Callis out of ringside, only for him to come back with a screwdriver. But we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid.
So I think their Wrestle Kingdom their Wrestle Kingdom match was better.
Agreed.
I really liked the 4-way match between the 4 Pillars. I mentioned that one earlier. This is not going to be popular because there was a certain thing that happened in the match, and it's the kind of match we get a lot in AEW, but I loved the Texas Death match between Hangman Adam Page, I want to vomit just saying that, and Swerve Strickland. I loved that match. I didn't need to see a man bleed into another man's mouth. I didn't need to see that. But I did really...
Right in the hepatitis.
Yeah, right in the hip. But I did love that match. But my favorite match of the year, and neither of you are going to be, especially you, Sean, you're probably going to be like, obviously. It was a Wrestle Dream. And
shaking my head on live stream.
Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. had the best pure technical wrestling match of the year. It reminded me of Zack Sabre Jr. versus Drew Gulak during the Cruiserweight Classic, the best match of the Cruiserweight Classic, in my opinion. I loved every solitary second of that match. And as someone who used to grapple, like used to be in amateur wrestling, it was just perfect. And even the finish, where the whole thing was, I'm a better in-ring like technician than you. And Bryan Danielson wins with the big running knee. And the whole argument is, well, you didn't out-grapple me to win, so are you really the best wrestler? They left it open enough in case they wanted to do a rematch, which they ended up not doing, but I did like the idea of that finish. That is, hands down, my favorite match of the year. It pains me to say that an AEW match is my favorite match of the year, considering all the dumb shit that they've done this year, and them absolutely being the worst professional wrestling company of the year, in my opinion. Although NWA does make a strong showing for that as well. Because let's not forget, earlier in the year, Tyrus was their world champion. Let's not forget that. But I can't help but give Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. my kudos for match of the year. That's my favorite match of the year.
Well, and then it comes down to me.
Comes down to Jonathan.
Whose favorite match of the year actually happened at SummerSlam. It was a one-on-one match, and it was a hell of a one-on-one match because it showed fear in a man who had had none up to that point. And it had changed the attitude of how that particular man worked that particular match and the desperation that that man exhibited in the face of said danger that he really had never had, even when he was facing somebody like Sheamus. while I was not willing to give him the superstar or male wrestler of the year, I will give him the match of the year because the way that I phrased it at the end of my writing was, they had me, they nearly lost me, they made me feel silly for doubting. The match I'm giving this nomination to is Gunther versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 2023.
That was a damn good one, though.
I loved that match. It was a different layer to Gunther. Something else beyond what we've gotten from him. And he's had some very interesting opponents. Like him and Gable has been very, very good on Raw. That was also another really good match that got people equally invested. Gunther's really good with that. I really liked the Miz match. Not enough to make it a match of the year, but I really liked that too.
Sean.
The match he had with Tommaso Ciampa on Raw that was 25 minutes was also really good.
Sean, have you
that WWE put back on YouTube in its entirety because how good it was on YouTube.
Sean, are you talking about the Miz Gunther match at Survivor Series?
Yes.
Go watch their rematch on Raw. It's even better than their Survivor Series match. Because your problem with the Gunther match at Survivor Series was they gave the Miz too much. Their rematch on Raw fixes that problem.
Excellent. And also, the one that I saw live on Raw, which was Gunther versus Kevin Owens. Which was also very good.
That was very good as well. Gunther got us to mention Monday Night Raw matches in our best of the year.
I'm pissed I didn't go to the Gunther and Tommaso Ciampa match because it happened in San Jose.
Yeah,
I should have gone to that match.
Yeah, and you went to John Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. How do you feel, Skyler?
Silly, I bet.
The sadness I can feel through my speaker right now. I can see tears going
But yeah, if we're going to nominate anything, it has to be that triple threat because call the police.
Yeah.
Call the police!
Titus O'Neil seals the deal. It's gotta be.
Holy sugar honey iced tea! Or however he put it, yeah. I will happily concede to the triple threat intercontinental title match at WrestleMania Night 2.
You know, they need to do a reality show instead of Roads to the Top, and it's just Titus O'Neil, and they just call it just the right amount of Titus.
Or Titus to the Top.
And
Titus Top?
Roads to the Titus. Top. Bottom.
Roads to underneath the ring.
You wanted it to go.
We're losing steam really fast.
All right.
So we've got.
And you can tell that we're doing this for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we only got 4 more of these to go, and then we're getting out of here.
Yeah.
So the next one we're doing is the best tag team of the year. Or happy. My nominee is there are hardly any tag teams worth a damn right now.
Yep.
And the only one I'm going to give it to is the one that was the only one that was really worth a damn this year that had any sort of run of any standing before they both got hurt and then their momentum just kind of slowed down. I'm going with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn because what a night one they had.
That's a good
And
pick.
sometimes it's small and efficient, but it's memorable, so boom shakalaki. Skyler.
Yaboo. 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 Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
Wow. I'm surprised.
I'm gonna say Judgment Day, but yeah.
Joshua?
I'm with you on that one, yeah. Yeah, boo.
I'm.
Yeah, boo. I don't remember what the Han Solo conversation is after he's talking to that particular droid or guy in Mos Eisley, but I could see. Yeah, I could see. We need to add Finn Balor into Mos Eisley into some of those Star Wars edits, but not on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Fuck you, Disney. But I'm very much in Sean's boat. I'm very much in Sean's boat of there's not that many to choose from, and the ones that are to choose from are very eh. Like, I was thinking Pretty Deadly earlier because they're a tag team that exists,
even though they have not done hardly anything. They're just a team that exists. And I'm like, but that's more than the bare minimum at this point.
You said the Creed brothers, even though they're green as fuck.
They're too new. They're too new, and I don't watch enough NXT. So I'm honestly gonna side with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They had the main event of the year. They had momentum until one of them got hurt, and then they kind of just stopped. And when they fell out of the Bloodline feud, they kind of fell out of interest. But for the time they had allotted, they did great with it. So I'm going with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
All right, good job for them. Next up is the promoter/booker of the year.
Triple H.
All hail, Based H.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be I'll put Hunter for mine. I'll put Hurst for Skyler.
Put Fire Naya for mine. Stop bringing her back.
If we wanted to do other nominees, we could say Shawn Michaels, but that's NXT.
Yeah.
No, you know
and we don't watch it.
I actually do want to give a nod to somebody right now. As far as an honorable mention for Booker of the Year, it's obviously no dispute that Triple H is doing exactly what needs to be done mostly for WWE. I'm going to give the nod to Scott D'Amore and Impact. Because they've slowly but surely been re-signing wrestlers. They're going back to TNA. They're trying to rebrand. They're like, look, we're making things work. I heard whispers about them working with Endeavor as well. I think there's slowly built where everyone else seems to be collapsing around us. Impact seems to slowly be building again. And that makes me curious. And I am intrigued to see what happens with Impact in the future. And I think Scott D'Amore's got a lot of passion for Impact, and I think they could make a difference if they really focused on what made them good and what could make them even better in the future. So, not enough to win this year, but they're making strides. They're making strides. So,
Triple H needs to fire Nia Jax.
Easy. We got one more left of each, so let's do the worst one first. Let's do the crap one first. And it is the worst feud of the year. JoshAgeddon, I'm going to let you start.
Oh, Lord. Again, there hasn't been that many, long feuds. So, for a feud to really be that horrible, it needs to have a little bit of length to it. And the long ones that we've talked about were for the most part, good. Or AEW, which we didn't watch enough AEW to get the gist of a lot of their feuds. We just saw a lot of their abortion afterbirth nonsense. But, we've talked about it a lot earlier, but I'm going with LA Knight and Bray Wyatt, the feud in general. The match was the crescendo of the feud. And I mean that in a very bad way.
And they got The Undertaker to come out for an appearance, God.
To whisper the sweet nothings into Bray Wyatt's ear? Question mark?
Maybe he was telling him the mark of the BSK was upon him.
Maybe he was
hiking one night.
Maybe he was telling him, you know how they call me the dead man?
On this
okay. That is way too dark. That is way too dark. But the whole LA Knight Bray Wyatt, other than LA Knight trying his damnedest, that whole feud sucked. It was a waste of LA Knight. It was a waste of Bray Wyatt, and it ended in that god awful match. So that's my pick for worst feud of the year.
Skyler?
Remember when I went meta last year and I said Chris Jericho versus Ring of Honor?
Yep.
Can I go meta again and say CM Punk versus AEW?
CM Punk versus the Elite. Specifically.
Yeah. Well, CM Punk versus the Elite and Friends.
Yeah.
Because it's not even the Elite. It always seems to be the proxy guys of the Elite that end up causing the most trouble.
Like Magneto says in X-Men 3, The Last Stand, this is why the pawns go first.
Well, my worst feud, I also thought outside the box for this. The nomination I have chosen for this is one that has just personally irritated me, and it's gotten gradually worse and worse. and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's not necessarily his fault, but it's not necessarily not his fault. Seth Rollins versus Fashion. Because it's every time he comes out, what is the first thing we all say?
What the fuck are you wearing?
Every single time.
The amount of times the man has come out literally dressed like a vagina is ridiculous.
Literally. I'm like, why are we doing this?
It was a running joke.
Yes, we get it. You have a baby.
It was a running joke. Me and Skyler were like, he needs to come out with a shirt that says, "What the fuck is Seth wearing?"
Yeah, seriously. What are you wearing? Could be it could be better than the song.
Yeah.
Honestly,
What are you wearing? But I'm going to concede mine because mine was, as awful as it was just January, honestly. I'm going to concede towards Skyler. That broke a company. That broke a company.
Yeah. And made another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and so that means our last category.
All right, final one.
The final category is the Grapply for the best moment of the year. So instead of our WTF moment, it's our WTF of a positive nature. Our favorite moment of 2023. It's a good one to end on. Mm-hmm. And why don't we start with Joshua on this one?
Even though I mentioned earlier that I considered naming him my worst wrestler of the year because of just the childishness that he approached the situation with, even though he's not really my favorite wrestler anymore, although if he does really well and redeems himself enough in WWE, which he might, given the opportunity, nothing made my jaw hit the floor more than seeing CM Punk walking around in a WWE ring. Even though I had it a teeny bit spoiled like a couple minutes before it happened because I watched Survivor Series late, if I would have watched Survivor Series live, I would have had a dislocated jaw when that happened. The second that his intro sound effect, the glitch sound happened, I would have been like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, as the crowd very much did lose their shit. It's either that or Sami Zayn hitting Roman Reigns in the back with a chair. But that was the Sami Zayn thing was storyline greatness. The CM Punk thing was a game-changing moment for the company and for wrestling as a whole. So CM Punk coming back is it takes the cake for me. That's definitely a good moment. I will do mine and then we'll end with Skyler's. For me, as much as I love the fact that they pulled a classic Triple H move on that, where they did the end deco graphic in the right-hand corner of the 2023, and then they did Punk's music, so it made you think that the show was ending and then pulled you back in. I was like, I recognize that. That's a Triple H-ism. Mm-hmm. And that's a good Triple H-ism. I like those Triple H-isms. Mm-hmm. And so, as much as I loved that, the thing that gave me the most joy this year was having one of the hottest feuds of WWE's modern lifetime actually have the proper payoff. And for me, my favorite moment this year was Kevin and Sami actually winning the tag titles against the Usos in the main event. The fact that there was a tag team championship main event of WrestleMania alone was enough to make me smile. The fact that it was the payoff it should have been made it that much better. That was the kind of storytelling joy that made me become a fan. Mm-hmm. So that's my pick for that. Is the main event of WrestleMania 39 Night 1.
Skylore.
So this is tough, but I think the fact that we got the moment of respect between Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, and Brock Lesnar willing to shake Cody's hand, and for the little tease of what if Cody gets F5 by this. But I think overall, you have to give it to Brock for willing to put over Cody in such a way, in such a human way, when he's always been a monster.
Yeah.
Brock's endorsement of Cody. Yeah, I mean, that really was, maybe I've downplayed the significance of that, but it did really keep Cody relevant in a way that allows him now to still be very much a title contender at this rate for Roman Reigns, which is nice and necessary because they knew that Cody losing at WrestleMania 39 was going to be majorly deflating. And Brock was the perfect guy to bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are three very good choices. Who do we think come out on the top of these?
Who buckles?
I mean, as much as I like the moment between Cody and Brock, it can't be anything else but CM Punk coming out to Chicago fans.
Yeah.
And like the moment we never thought it's a game changer, and we never thought it was going to happen, and it happens.
Even watching that back, or like watching his segment with CM Punk, I'm tired. Watching his segment with Seth Rollins, or his promo back, or his promo on SmackDown, it's still like I can't believe my eyes. Like he's actually in a WWE ring again.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, again, Sean, I'm waiting for you to put your balls on my mouth because you told me so.
Well, I did just stand up. That is definitely possible, But CM Punk, we'll see if CM Punk puts his balls into WWE or if he takes them and goes home. And but the fact that we're even having those conversations is great. Mm-hmm. But before this hits 3 proper hours, gentlemen, here's our list. We did it. Here's the results. I hope you can read backwards. We had ourselves a wonderful grappling time. Say some final words for 2023 for the fine folks at the CMP, folks.
Thank you guys for watching both the TAP and CMP, and hopefully we'll have some more content for the following year, and AEW is likely going to keep spiraling, and WWE, I think that with this like set-up year with 2023, I wonder if 2024 is going to be like a big landmark year, or if it's going to be another set-up year. We'll have to see, but I'm looking forward to 2024.
Skyler?
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and to a brand new year. And I hope everybody does well during this time. This is a difficult time. The holidays are. But I hope that everyone, like, y'all... I get emotional during this time because this is a very tough time for a lot of people, but it's also a time to celebrate. Just everybody to better health, better prosperity, and to a brand new future.
That's right, folks. And what better way to celebrate all of those happy times, good and bad, than with your friends at the Core Martial Podcast. We will see you next year. Definitely for talk about the Rumble. Maybe for some more stuff after that. But until then, folks, we will be right back. Good night, everybody.
And thank you guys once again so much for getting TAW Gaming to 1,000 subscribers. I cannot thank you guys enough. And thank you guys so much for watching. And thank you, Sean and Skyler, for making this a tricycle cast. Yeah.
Tribal cast.
Tribal combat. Wait, that match wasn't great. We're out of time. Bye.